This is Game Day exclusive on Talksport. I'm Faye Carruthers. We are just under 10 minutes to kick off in the Tyne Wear derby. That own goal from Nick Voltemada means that Newcastle are now 10 games without a win against Sunderland in the league. What the fans really want for him is to start scoring for the Magpies again. He starts today, but I have just got to talk to you about this incredible atmosphere as we are 7 minutes from kick-off in the Tyne Wear derby. The first time this fixture has taken place at this ground in 10 years, and the tifo that has been unveiled on the far side of this ground underneath Newcastle United at the top of this iconic stadium is incredible. There is a magpie on top of the Tyne Bridge looking with a hat on it, looking incredibly angry, with the city of Newcastle upon Tyne, and statues as I move out of the way for loads of fans getting their way back into the stadium here at the press box. It is incredible. I'm going to post a picture up on social media for you to see, and the atmosphere in here is deafening. I don't even know if you can hear me. Over on the far side, welcome to the region's capital. You've been gone for so long is what it says. And there's supposed to be 3,500 Sunderland fans here in the Leazes End. I would say there's maybe 2,500 up there at the moment. There's a spattering of seats still. They haven't made it in here. And I just want to let you know some of the reports that are going on from outside of the ground here at St James's Park, because Craig Hope, the Daily Mail's chief football reporter, has just posted on social media that there's been fighting outside of the ground. One fan appearing in a really bad way with CPR being administered before being taken away. Not good. Hopefully so many more fans are now in the ground and safe. The fans that are in the fan zone just outside where they'll be watching the game because they haven't got a ticket. Hopefully everybody is safe out there. The stripes, the black and white stripes that the flags have been waving for about the last 10 to 15 minutes. I've not experienced an atmosphere like it, and I have been privileged to be at some iconic games in my career, but this is something else. I was at the FA Cup game between these two sides in January alongside Mickey Gray, actually, a couple of years ago, which was the first fixture in many years, and that was quite incredible just then. But this is something else, Mickey.
Well, Faye, I've got to say, and there's no bias here, and there's only Celtic and Rangers comes anywhere near this derby, whether it's played at St James's Park or the Stadium of Light. What it means up the northeast, the passion, it's just incredible. It really is. You have to listen to that, and I'm here as an away supporter, really. It is incredible.
We're waiting for the players to emerge from the tunnel, and then it's going to go up a few more decibels, I can tell you right now. We were talking about Nick Voltemada, and here they are now coming out to Hey Jude with the two captains, Kieran Trippier leading out the Newcastle players and Granit Xhaka leading out the Sunderland players. And there's some black flares being released on the far side as well. Anthony Taylor is the referee. He's taken the ball off of the plinth. Such an amazing game. We're also hearing, by the way, some reports that the Sunderland coach was damaged after several bottles and cans struck the vehicle. We'll keep you up to date with everything that's been going on outside. Inside, everybody seems to be in very good spirits. As I say, still not full at the Leazes End, the away end high up to my left-hand side as the players shake hands and take the mascots around. I'm going to throw you over to our commentator, Joe Shannon, where we'll hear Going Home, theme of the local hero by Mark Knopfler, which I think is going to be sang loud and proud. Sit back and enjoy live and exclusive commentary of the 144th Tyne Wear derby in the company of former Newcastle defender Steve Howie, Sunderland Hall of Famer Mickey Gray, and your match commentator here on Talksport, Joe Shannon.
Well, having been across European Championships, World Cups, Premier League matches, Champions League matches, that is one of the best pre-match atmospheres I have ever seen. And in the northeast, this one is the big one. 12 miles between the two clubs, more than 125 years of storied derby history. whatever side of the divide you're on, these are the days that Newcastle United and Sunderland fans live for. But what will be the defining moment this time? It is a fixture with plenty in Premier League years gone by, from Niall Quinn and Kevin Phillips to that Alan Shearer penalty in his final game, to Paolo Di Canio's knee slide and David Vaughan's peach of a goal, to Kevin Nolan's hat-trick and Ryan Taylor over the wall. Who is ready to go? Who will be the local hero for Tyne All Weir today? It is quite simply Newcastle against Sunderland, and it is live and exclusive on Talksport. Steve Howie, I don't think you ever lost one of these derby matches. What does it mean to the locals?
Well, it's everything. I mean, obviously it's the bragging rights. I was fortunate to play in 4-1-2, drew 2, but it just brings it all back. I mean, just standing here listening to that noise, making it be the same, the sort of the hairs on the back of your neck stand on edge. It's absolutely superb. This is why you want to be a professional footballer. As a kid growing up, obviously you want to be lucky enough to be a professional footballer, but to be involved in games like this is what it's all about.
Well, we're sat only 5 or 6 rows from the edge of the pitch, right behind the dugouts here. I can see Regis Lebris to the left of the halfway line with his arms folded, and Eddie Howe stepping out of the dugout for the first time, Mickey Gray. Who is the manager under the greater pressure this afternoon?
Well, I think there's been more speculation this season for Eddie Howe rather than Regis Lebris. I think Regis wants to try and have a strong finish to the end of the season if he possibly can. But same goes for Eddie Howe. He wants to try and reach those Champions League positions. In this game, if you don't want to play in it, get down that tunnel right now.
You don't like football if you don't like matches like this one. It's the Tyne Weir derby, and the boos will tell you that Sunderland, blue shirts today, white shorts and blue socks, will get us off and underway. Left to right in the first half towards the Gallagate end. Newcastle United in the black and white, the striped shirts, from right to left towards the Leazes end. Nick Voltemada's early ball over the top, easy for Sunderland goalkeeper Melker Elborg. The Newcastle team, Ramsdale in goal, Trippier, Botman, Byrne and Hall, Joel Linton and Ramsey, Elanga on the ball now, Voltemada and Barnes behind Gordon up front. Byrne looks for Hall in the left-back position. England left-back Lewis Hall. Clearance charged down by Chris Rigg, and Byrne will hoist it upfield, high and long for Newcastle, over the halfway line. Sunderland have Elborg in goal, Hertrauda, O'Nien, Alderete and Hume. Xhaka holding, Rigg, Diarra, Siddiqui and Talbi behind Brobby up front. Already, even with less than a minute played, there's a frenetic opening to this game. A tremendous energy about both teams, and most importantly of all, Steve Howie, a desire to get the job done.
Yeah, obviously it started off very fast, but that's what it has to be. I think as a player, you can't afford to just be slightly off the pace, because everybody's at it. Everybody wants to be the one that maybe creates something. As you can hear and hear, the noise is absolutely superb, but we've got a decent start. Newcastle seem to have a little bit more of the ball, but hopefully will not be that long before we see the first chance.
Can still smell the acrid smoke after the fireworks from earlier on. The floodlights are on, gloomy grey skies overhead at St James's. 52,000 packed in. Good sliding challenge by Rigg on the halfway line, but Newcastle take the throw quickly. Harvey Barnes near side the left, 0-0 on Talksport. Barnes to the dead ball line, taking on Hertrauda. He'll poke it towards the dead ball line, and that's the first corner. No, it isn't. He's given a goal kick. Anthony Taylor.
Well, Joe, Newcastle have settled into the game a lot better than what Sunderland have. Sometimes the frustration when you see somebody like Harvey Barnes, he had 2 opportunities there. It's early on in the game with his left foot, just to put the ball into the area, whether it's a bad cross or not. Ask a question. Sunderland goalkeeper Elborg, ask a question to the 2 centre-halves. Do you want to defend? Do you want to clear your lines? That was a let-off for Sunderland.
Sunderland, who are unbeaten in their last 10 league games against Newcastle, winning 7 of 8. That is across 2 spells in the top division and under 6 different managers, would you believe it? Of course, Regis Lebris, who won his first ever Tyne Weir derby by a 1-0 in December. But Newcastle have made maybe the faster start. Hall surging down the near side of left. Early cross. Ilanga's header over the top. My goodness me, he arrived there late. Anthony Ilanga powered it over the bar, 0-0.
Yeah, as Mickey was just sort of saying, Harvey Barnes had an opportunity to put it in. He didn't. Hall does. He whips one in, and Ilanga comes from nowhere. It's a fantastic header. I'm thinking it's in, but it's just over the bar. And it's weird as well, because I was looking at his stats before the game. In 26 games, he hasn't scored a Premier League goal. I'm looking at the stats, I'm thinking that can't be right. But he nearly got his first one there. That would have been a fantastic start.
Great ball, isn't it? Lewis Hall. There's the difference. A fullback who just wants to put the ball in the area instead of Harvey Barnes wanting to chop back onto his favoured right foot. But an incredible run from Ilanga, finding his form as a Newcastle shirt eventually.
He certainly is, after 2 goals in Barcelona in midweek. Of course, it all fell apart for Newcastle in the Champions League in the end. But this, you could argue, the perfect game in which to try and bounce back. Sunderland look for Brobby deep inside the Newcastle half. Newcastle in the black and white striped shirts smuggle the ball away. Only as far as Brobby, the number 9. Good ball infield by Taubi. Diarra tries to get to it, poked away by Dan Burn. Ramsey and Xhaka go head to head in the middle of midfield. That's a foul by Granit Xhaka and a free kick to Newcastle midway inside their own half. And that Sunderland man, the key man Xhaka, is going to be absolutely crucial, you feel, to their hopes of getting a good result in the derby today.
Yeah, but I also think he has to be disciplined today, Joe, and I think he's got to sit in front of that, let's say, inexperienced back four, if you like. Probably hardly ever played together, that back four. But Granit Xhaka trying to break forward, yes, at times, if it's on, he needs to do that. But I think discipline from him, being the captain as well, being the dictator out there, that position for him is absolutely key.
Rather wild challenge by Ilanga on Trey Hume on the far side of the field. It'll be a Sunderland free kick in their left back position. Have to say it's a shame Sunderland are not playing in the red and white today. Oh, Elborg charged down by Gordon. He gets very lucky, the goalkeeper. Way too slow. Gordon blocked off his clearance. Fortunately for Elborg, it bounced back to him. And now Brobby at the other end shrugs aside Botman into the area. Brian Brobby is clear, but Anthony Taylor says there was a foul by the burly number 9 on the giant Botman, and that's a free kick to Newcastle United. Steve Howie.
Yeah, just on the goalkeeper one with Anthony Gordon. I mean, me and Mickey were speaking before the game about the goalkeeper possibly not being the best with his feet, but for some reason he's just too slow. You're not going to have that time here. You're not going to have that time anywhere, but not here. But just after that as well with Brobby, I have to be honest, I didn't think there was much in it for me. I just thought Brobby showed his strength.
Completely agree with you, Steve. You know, that's his game, Joe. He's a strong centre forward, Brobby. Look, we saw a keeper in Sanchez yesterday. Surely Elborg's watched the game.
Yep.
And knowing that you don't get time in the Premier League to have 4 or 5 touches, clear your lines.
Persisting with it just seems increasingly ridiculous. At all levels of football, you're seeing goalkeepers getting called out week on week trying to play out from the back.
But sometimes it's just madness. You see your goalkeeper, I've been caught. I've got a story on this one which we'll probably go into, but it's later on. But you just can't understand with some goalkeepers, especially when you're not the best with your feet. Just get it out your feet, get it up there and let your team squeeze.
Newcastle United 0, Sunderland 0. 6 high-octane minutes have been played, and here comes Anthony Taylor to the near side of the field. And is he going to have a word with the 2 coaching camps here? He's called over Jason Tindall and one of Régis Lebris's assistants as well. Michael Proctor's been called over, and he's just calming things down on the touchline already.
That's certainly two coaches who can be fiery at times, can't they, Joe? I know Michael very well, and obviously Jason we've seen over the period that he's been at Newcastle. The fiery characters, they want the best for the team, I understand it.
To be fair, I think Mick was winding Prox up before the game, so that's why he's probably had a go.
Steve Howie and Mickey Gray are with us on Talksport. Sunderland have got a throw. Right wing position, Luke O'Nien almost standing inside the front row of the Milburn stand on this near side of the field. Is going to haul it in long. Sunderland playing from left to right. He arches his back, darts it into the near post, and it's well gathered by Aaron Ramsdale. First touch for the goalkeeper, high above the head of Alderete. Newcastle 0, Sunderland 0. And a quick throw out to Kieran Trippier in the right back position. Little 1-2 between him and Ilanga. And Newcastle very calmly in possession. Find Joel Linton, the number 7, with the dyed blonde hair. Now Byrne The boy from Blythe, who knows exactly what it means to play in this fixture. Nudges it out to the left, and Lewis Hall, who grew up a Newcastle fan. Byrne with an overlapping run. Good work by Byrne, sliding in to win a corner off Granit Xhaka.
Yeah, he's given the ball to Hall, he's gone for the return. Probably put it a little bit too far ahead of him, so he's sliding in. He's took a ricochet, gone out for a corner. But you do see players now, when they do make those challenges, they're going to the fans and they're sort of clenching the fists together, getting the fans up for it. Of course, they're up for it. First corner to Newcastle.
First meeting here at St James's Park between the two teams since 2016. 0-0. Corner Newcastle at the Lees' end, away to our left-hand side. They're on their feet behind the goal. It's certainly a day to show your club colours, and there are tens of thousands of black and white shirts all around the ground. 3,000 Sunderland fans are up in the gods meanwhile. Kieran Trippier has to wait to take the corner. Anthony Taylor sorting out some jostling inside the penalty area. And Trippier will now hoist the ball in, right-footed and in-swinging. Very crowded 6-yard box. In by Trippier, floated high to the back post, and Botman was underneath it, but he only made the faintest of contacts, and it's behind for a goal kick.
Well, Joe, Steve, I mean, you both sat alongside me. The height difference from Newcastle to Sunderland. I mean, there's 3 Newcastle players there are soaring over every single Sunderland player. And you can see that they're bustling to try and find that position before that ball comes into the area. That could be key today, set pieces for the home team.
Given away by Sunderland. Gordon's in the penalty area now! Newcastle lead! Savour the moment, Newcastle fans! Anthony Gordon steers it home. Sunderland lost the ball, trying to play out from the back, and Gordon turned it beyond Elborg. What a moment at St James's! The roof has lifted off, and on Derby Day, that is a moment that Newcastle fans will never forget. Anthony Gordon the scorer. It's Newcastle 1, Sunderland 0.
What a start for Newcastle. In all fairness, I haven't got a clue what Sunderland were trying to do. Again, sometimes I don't know why are you playing little short passes? The manager's got to be furious with that. They're playing little short passes in their own box. It gets taken off them, comes to Gordon, he does ever so well, takes a good first touch, then goes past his man, slips it into the corner. It's a wonderful, wonderful goal. Fantastic start for Newcastle, but an awful start for Sunderland.
2 players that I was really worried about before this game when I seen Sunderland's 11 was picked. Obviously, number 2 goalkeeper Elborg, not great with his feet, but what is he doing playing a 2-yard pass to Luke O'Nien, who's playing centre-half, who then tries to clear his lines with his left foot, just gets it completely wrong. Baltimore has done brilliantly to sneak in front of Granit Xhaka, and when it falls to Anthony Gordon, you can't touch him when he's in the 18-yard area. Wonderful finish from him, and Newcastle deserve to be in front. They've started the game a lot brighter, a lot better, and I think it was epitomised with the passion that Dan Bird showed just by winning a corner.
Newcastle 1, Sunderland 0. O'Nien and Elborg caught out. Xhaka trying to win the ball back, and he has done for Sunderland on the halfway line. He'll shuffle it down the near side of the field. Diarra racing forward towards the corner flag. Gordon gets back at it. So too does Lewis Hall. Diarra, has he committed a foul? No. Good decision by the assistant referee. Didn't look like a free kick to me. It's a throw instead to Sunderland on the near side there, right. Well, what O'Nien and Elborg were thinking of, I don't know. Elborg, who was nearly caught out in the opening moments of the game. The good thing for Sunderland is that we've only had 10 minutes or so plenty of time to get themselves back into the derby. But it's Newcastle who've drawn first blood. Long throw into the penalty area by O'Nien. Good header away by Voltemada. Hit on the volley by Xhaka, and that sails, as you can probably hear, into the Gallowgates.
Well, Joe, this could be a long afternoon for Sunderland. I have to say, they look really nervy. They haven't got any flow in their football at all. The movement is there from Brobbery up front, but they just can't get the ball anywhere near at the moment. Apart from that, the little bit of a tussle I think you had with Botman. They've got to settle themselves down. Granit Xhaka's got a big job to do today, and so is the manager. He's not really said anything to his players yet, but Newcastle, they're on the front foot and they sense blood.
That's the voice of Mickey Gray. We'll get another word from Steve Howie, former Newcastle defender, in just a moment, as Hall hooks the ball over his shoulder, high up into the grey sky. It's headed on by Xhaka, but he didn't know where the ball was. Voltemada there to pluck it out of the air for Newcastle. Tangle with Siddiqui in the middle of midfield. Ramsey has to go back to Byrne. He's refereed it very well so far, Anthony Taylor, as Hall plays a good crossfield ball, swirling through the air to the right, and Trippier. In goes Hume to win it back. Ferocious pace to this game. Brobby taking on Botman. Botman gets a foot in. Talby will let it drift out of play. It's a Sunderland throw on the far side of the field. So far, so good for Newcastle, Steve.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, there's no secret really how Newcastle were going to start, with that intensity, the high pressure, just trying to put pressure on Sunderland, not let them breathe. And they're doing exactly the same. Every time Sunderland's got possession, they're getting shut down. It's them games where I'm watching it and I'm thinking, I wish I could put my boots back on.
Long throw in by Luke O'Nien, header away, thumping header cleared by Byrne. That will trickle out of play for a Sunderland throw at the Gallowgate end, a couple of yards from the corner flag, and O'Nien getting not exactly a heartwarming reception.
No, he's not. They tried this long throw on 2 or 3 occasions already from Luke O'Nien.
Hasn't worked out just yet. In it comes again, very flat, good header away by Byrne. And it's dropped out to Xhaka, away on the left wing position. Xhaka gets it back, O'Nien drills in the cross, spins off the head of Joel Linton, and there's a foul inside the penalty area on Botman, and Newcastle United get themselves a free kick, leading by a goal to nil on Talksport with Sky Sports. Don't forget that with Now you can stream all the Sky Sports action flexibly, like Newcastle against Sunderland live right now. Search Now Sports. Remember, we've got the League Cup final for you at 4:30 live from Wembley Stadium on Talksport, with Jim Proudfoot, Darren Benson, Stuart Pearce. Arsenal against Manchester City, and both England friendlies live for you over the international break as well, it's worth saying. Barnes out on the left for Newcastle, who were 1-0 up. Early ball into the near post, swept into touch by Siddiqui, who claps his hands together as if trying to cajole the Sunderland players into action, Mickey.
Yeah, they do. They need G'ing up. You know, you come into a game like this, you've got to leave nothing out there. You've got to give absolutely everything. And at the moment, it's like they're just going through the motions, hoping that Newcastle don't get that second goal.
A diagonal ball from Trippier, and at the back post, Byrne has peeled away from Hume, towers over Trey Hume in particular, does Dan Byrne. He towers over just about everybody on the field. Now Joel Linton prodding it wide towards Byrne again. You get the sense, I mean, he's the man for the big occasion, isn't he, Steve Howie? As the ball goes out of play, he would love a goal on Derby Day, Dan Byrne.
Oh yeah, I mean, he, as I'd sort of said building up to this game, there'll be the likes of him predominantly. He'll be in the dressing room and sort of saying to the players, look, remember how we felt in the first fixture. We do not want to feel like that again. Let them come here and let them give them something and show them how good we actually are, because they didn't turn up in the first game. But he's certainly the man for the big occasion.
Joel Linton and Botman get in each other's way. The loose ball has bounced out to the left-hand side, and the number 7 Talby, then Brobby, who certainly is a handful, holds it up well. Goes back to the halfway line, and Sunderland have possession. It's already a better game than the reverse fixture, I have to say.
I think we've already had more in this game than we did in the first game. But look, Newcastle have approached it in the perfect manner. They always start on the front foot. They put pressure on you, and they hope that it comes off, and they've certainly done that. It's ironic, isn't it? Voltemada involved in the goal as well, of what happened at the Stadium Light. But every single time they get the ball into Sunderland's half, they look a threat.
Good flick, Voltemada, to Hall in the centre circle. You wouldn't have guessed Newcastle lost 7-2 in midweek. Trippier in the right wing position, crosses, and O'Nien with the looping header that drifted very closely towards his own post. Lack of communication there between O'Nien and Alderete. Newcastle get a corner.
Yeah, when the ball comes in, it's a decent ball from Trippier, but a good build-up initially. It's Luke O'Nien who just tries to head it back over his goal, but it's one of them ones you think it isn't going to creep in. But it's just so intense from Newcastle. A fantastic start from Newcastle. It's the team that's doing this, which is obviously helps the fans. They're up for it, the players are up for it. Another corner for Newcastle.
He's Mr. Sunderland in many ways, isn't he, Luke O'Nien? But he's being run ragged at the moment by Newcastle. Plenty of black and white striped shirts inside the penalty area. 1-0 Newcastle lead, floated in by Kieran Trippier. Byrne goes up for it, good header away by Alderete. Comes out to Ramsey, and the deflection takes it away from goal, and the offside flag is up on the far side. I think it did hit Dan Byrne, who is ultra high energy. He seems like he's everywhere in this game at the moment. Sunderland get a free kick on the edge of their own penalty area.
Well, Sunderland are shadow boxing at the moment, Joe. They can't get anywhere near Newcastle. How easy it is for Newcastle to switch that ball from the left over to the right hand side, put those balls into the area with no pressure on the crosser of the ball, and then it's panic stations. And as you mentioned, I don't want to keep going on, it is a difficult game to play in, but Luke O'Nine's been thrown in at the deep end, really. Done that job before in the Championship, playing centre half on many occasions, but this is a different kettle of fish.
People did speculate whether he and Hertrauder might switch positions, but Hertrauder has very rarely played at centre half this season. Hall for Newcastle, who look by far the sharper, better team. Throw one on the near side of the field by Voltemada. I can see Eddie Howe and Jason Tyndall pacing about just yards in front of us as Newcastle get it back and go back to Ramsdale, all in purple. And the Newcastle fans are on their feet. The masses behind us in the Milburn stand and all around the ground. Sunderland, though, win it back high up the pitch with the Moroccan Talbi looking to jink away from Ilanga. Talbi tries a cross and wins Sunderland a throw deep inside Newcastle territory.
Can't keep trying this long throw, Joe, can you? Every single time you get a throw in, Steve, it's like around the 18-yard area. You've got to mix it up at times. Yes, it's great and it's a threat, but if it's not working, play a little short one just to mix it up and get Newcastle thinking.
You see the fans as well on the far side, on this side, complaining because it'll be interesting to see where his foot lands when he's actually taking the throw. I'm pretty sure it's over the line.
Here it comes again, and it did look over the line. Nothing given by the referee. Good spot that, Steve, but there is a free kick to Newcastle anyway for a foul on Kieran Trippier. It looked like his right foot was over the dead ball line.
Yeah, I mean it's happened quite a lot. I'm amazed it doesn't get picked up, which it should get picked up as a foul throw. But you can see the fans over the far side. That's 2 or 3 times now they've been complaining, but still he's allowed to continue.
1-0 to Newcastle United. 20 minutes into the game at St James's Park. We had the most spectacular build-up to it, and so far the action on field has backed up what we saw before the game, with the myriad flags and the tifos and the fireworks going off. Plenty happening on the field at the moment. Still, the breathless pace continues. Byrne chests the ball down and he's given it straight back to Chris Rigg, who goes in for a 50-50 with Ramsey. Sunderland losing the 50-50s at the moment. Brobby not happy with Hall going down in the Newcastle left-back spot, but it is a Newcastle free kick right in front of Eddie Howe.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I don't mind that from Brobby. At least he's showing a little bit and he's got a bit of fight about him. Yes, it's a foul, but maybe have a word with a few of his teammates to do exactly the same thing. As I said before, Joe, they're shadow boxing at the moment, which means they're just too far away from the Newcastle players. What I would say is that press, Steve, from Newcastle high up the pitch, they've started bright and they've not let up yet.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the team that's coming in, I've seen them numerous times with teams coming here. Sometimes the team's thinking, you know, another 5 minutes we might be able to get a breather, but there's no let up from Newcastle. They're just at them, and it makes it so difficult. And I think, listen, Sunderland been fantastic this season, but I do feel as though they have felt as though it's been a little bit of a shock to the system so far at the start of this game.
They're certainly on a slump of late, Sunderland, and they can't score. That's been the big issue for them in recent matches as well. It's as though Newcastle have taken Barcelona's relentlessness and turned it on their local rivals. 12 miles between the two clubs. Voltemada nudges the ball out to the left-hand side, and Barnes, who shapes to jink in field, then turns back onto his left side, near side touchline, flicked by Voltemada, off Hall, overhit by Voltemada, way too much weight on it from the big German, and out to play it goes for a Sunderland throw in the right-back position. 64% possession for Newcastle so far, and of course the most important statistic as we head towards the midway point of the first half is that Newcastle lead by 1-0. Eddie Howe will be delighted. He couldn't have asked for anything more from the first quarter of the game. Header away by Alderete downfield, flicked clear by Botman. That was a good thumping header from Alderete, height and distance on it. And Sunderland now have another throw out in the right wing position. Yes, here he comes again, Luke O'Nien.
Yeah, I see it. I don't mind a long throw, Joe, but every single time you've got to throw in. I mean, he's nowhere near the 18-yard box here. We talked about the size difference, Newcastle players to Sunderland. The second best before he throws it in.
This one's taken short to Siddiqui, back to O'Nien, first time right-footed cross into the penalty area, headed away by Byrne, drops out towards the midway point of the Newcastle half, retrieved by Head-Chowder, the number 6. Head-Chowder drives on, finding Diarra back to goal, angles it wide, near side is O'Nien, free to cross, headed away by Gordon this time, comes out to Hume with a low ball to Siddiqui, good move by Sunderland, cleared away though by Barnes, before Siddiqui could get the return from Rigg, and now it's bounced down on the halfway line to Granit Xhaka. Xhaka drills the ball out to the left-hand side and into the path of Talby. Xhaka, a veteran of many a North London derby, of course. Talby marauds in field, shoots right-footed! What a save by Ramsdale! That was heading into the top corner. Brilliant stop from the Newcastle keeper.
Yeah, it was a good bit of play from Sunderland. To be fair, they had a bit of time to put pressure on Newcastle. Finally put the ball out to the left-hand side. I actually thought it was going in. You can see Ramsey scrambling across his goal. Just looking at the replay there, it's going right in the top corner. It's a wonderful save.
First time he's been called into action in the game so far. 1-0 Newcastle. Xhaka with the in-swinging corner, deep to the far post, nudge back across, missed by Hall. Brobby in there, tries an overhead kick, hit by Rigg, and it's a screamer over the top of the bar. Left-footed, leaning back on the half volley, and it stays over the top, and Newcastle keep their lead. Mickey Gray.
Well, as chances go, it's a chance for Sunderland, and Chris Rigg yet to get himself a goal this season in the Premier League. It's been difficult for him to play first-team football, but he's had a nice little run over the last couple of games. But as it comes back out to him there, he's just got to catch it perfectly on the half volley. But people coming to press and close you down always makes it that little bit more difficult. They're opening up a little bit now, which is better. I have to say, they're trying to get the ball down, they're doing things which is helping them, trying to get the ball to the wide players, then just putting the ball in the area. Good chance from Talby, a decent chance from Rigg. It's now a derby game.
Yes, Sunderland feel like they've arrived in the derby. Down goes Trey Hume in the left-back position. Sunderland have got a free kick out of that. Trey Hume, who has been at the club since 2022 and won 2 promotions in that time, but it's Anthony Gordon who has given Newcastle the lead on Derby Day. 4:30, Arsenal against Manchester City in the League Cup final. We'll have build-up from Wembley from 2:30 here on Talksport ahead of full match commentary, as you'd expect. Head-Chowder, right wing position near side of the field, taking on Ramsey. Newcastle, good shape here, everybody back behind the ball. Head-Chowder looks up, whips in across, hits Rigg on the back, and Ramsdale able to gather inside the 6-yard box. Just for a moment there, it looked like there might be a little bit of trouble for Newcastle, but they break over the halfway line. Voltemada prods it forward, Barnes chasing, O'Nien back to Elborg, and the goalkeeper's clearance first time up into the area is effective enough. Headed down by Joel Linton, Alderete in the way. Then Xhaka sends it skyward, scoops it long. Brobby having his shirt tugged. Anthony Taylor thought it wasn't a foul. Brobby sandwiching between Botman and Byrne, and Brobby trying to bully his way through the middle. Actually did a decent job of it initially, but Byrne there to retrieve after Botman couldn't make the initial header, and Elanga wins the ball back on the halfway line for Newcastle United. I tell you what, it certainly hasn't settled down yet, this game. Steve Howie, the pace of it is absolutely extraordinary.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to give credit to Sunderland. They've actually started to come a little bit more into the game, but you're right. I mean, it seems 100 mile an hour. Just nobody can seem to get the breath. You're just hoping somebody's just going to put the foot on the ball. But having said that, as a fan watching it, you want it to be like this.
Happy you sat here then.
Yeah, I think I'd be breathing by now.
Long ball downfield by Elborg, and it's well controlled by Brobby. Holds it up with his back to goal. Brobby 25 yards out into a shooting position. Good tackle back by Ramsey. Brobby held that up very well initially, but Ramsey able to get back and whip it off his toes and knock it back to Aaron Ramsdale.
Yeah, do you know, he just needs a bit of support, Brian Brobby. His hold-up play is very good, but I think when you've got Chris Rigg and Talby, they've got to get a bit closer to him. Know he's under a little bit of pressure, help him out, give him that simple pass and then build again. He's having to do it all on his own, Joe, and it's very, very hard against those two centre-halves in Newcastle.
Had a decent season since joining the club in the summer. Crossfield goes Trippier for Newcastle. Oh, and Hertrauder with a dreadful back header. Straight out of play for a totally needless corner conceded.
Yeah, I mean, Trippier does well. I think he nutmegs, might be Talby on the far side. I'm not sure if he means to do that. But then it's the crossfield ball. To be fair, from Trippier, it's not the best ball. But then the defender, Sunderland player, he's just got a header back. It's just that lack of concentration, just switches off a little bit. It's a bad header, and it's a corner to Newcastle.
It's those nerves, isn't it? You know, we talked about it. There's certain players still out there that haven't settled into the game, Joe. They look nervy. Here, Trudeau's just got a simple header back to his goalkeeper and eventually gives a silly corner away.
Which Kieran Trippier will take in front of the Lees' end. Massive banner at that end of the ground. Eddie Howe's Black and White Army just below the section where the Sunderland fans are. 1-0 Newcastle. Trippier drills the corner to the back post. Up goes Byrne, heads it down, and that'll be easy for Elborg, all in orange, to gather the Sunderland goalkeeper. So 1-0 to Newcastle. Betfair, our official betting partner, have the latest odds. Newcastle to win at 1-4. Sunderland to come back and win 11-1. And the draw at 9-2. That's all thanks to Betfair, playing a different league this season with Safe Sub from Betfair, 18+, gambleaware.org. Xhaka with an uncharacteristically loose pass. One back by the goal scorer Gordon. Now Joel Linton 30 yards out. Gordon strokes it square to Ramsey, and Sunderland get blue shirts back behind the ball. Sunderland in their change kit today. Paul angled pass out to the left-hand side, and Barnes taking on Hertrauder. Barnes jostles away from Hertrauder in field, finding Ramsey with the long sleeve shirt, and now Joel Linton back to the halfway line. Botman is there, the Dutchman with the angled ball to the far side, and Trippier, who floats an early pass down the inside right. Joel Linton after it, dead ball line, marshalled by Alderete, and Hume is out there as well. It's gone behind for another Newcastle corner. I suppose the only thing that is missing for Newcastle, based on the first half an hour or so, Steve, is a second goal and the cushion of a second goal, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, that would be ideal. As I said, they've definitely been the better team so far in this first half. Just good patient build-up. Just done there, Joe Linton make a good run down on the right-hand side, Newcastle's right-hand side. He gets a corner. But yeah, absolutely. I think for the play so far this first half, another goal will be absolutely perfect.
Well, this corner will be out swinging, and it's going to be taken by Gordon. Short, low along the dead ball line to Hall. Little flick back towards Gordon, who goes down in the area. Didn't look like there was anything in that. Anthony Taylor doesn't give a penalty. Elanga level with the edge of the 18-yard area. Hall all left foot on that far side. The right doesn't get beyond Rigg, who makes a tackle firm but fair. And now Siddiqui galloping forward on the counter-attack, setting up Rigg over the halfway line, but not beyond the watchful eye of Joel Linton. And Newcastle have it back again, Mickey Gray.
Yeah, he's just got back to his feet, Anthony Gordon. I think he knows now it wasn't a penalty. Yes, his ankle might be sore from the challenge that came in inside the 18-yard area. But when Sunderland do win the ball back, they try and break quickly. They haven't got the pace to do it with the personnel on the pitch right now. But when they do actually get into Newcastle's half, they're just lacking ideas. They're not coming up with anything different at all.
There is still quite a chaotic feel to the game. That's because it's so frenetic. Sunderland go long up towards Diarra. Towering header away by Byrne, who actually collided with Hall in the process. Rigg, the slight and slender number 11, has it back here for Sunderland, and now Diarra, right corner of the penalty area. Newcastle with almost everybody behind the ball, in fact everybody including Anthony Gordon sat deep. Out of possession here Newcastle as Sunderland seek an equaliser. 1-0 down, Siddiqui in the area, Robbie lets it run, Rigg running onto it, and it nearly fell for Diarra, smuggled away at the vital moment by Hall, and now 09 sliding in, beating Gordon to it, only as far as Elanga. Early ball down the middle, Gordon can't get there, and it's back to Elborg.
Well, again, it's Chris Rigg. It's the chances have fallen to a player, a young player who I absolutely love, but who's lacked in goals this season. Another good opportunity, the little step over, fell perfectly for Rigg's left foot. He's just got to concentrate a little bit more, Joe. Keep his head down, not think about getting by a defender, just think about hitting the target first and foremost. Scuffed his first opportunity on the half volley. On this occasion, just rushed it a little bit.
I think Newcastle have been the better team in the first half, but there's no doubt about it. Sunderland have created a couple of decent chances, and that one was another one. I think it's Harvey Barnes of all people, who's back there making the challenge. But if he gets a better connection on it, then who knows what could happen. But definitely good signs for Sunderland.
He's only 18, Chris Rigg, but it feels like he's been around for a decade or so. He made his Sunderland debut when he was only 15 in the FA Cup 3 years ago now. Barnes on the halfway line, lets it run for Voltemade, through to Elanga. Elanga could be clear in the penalty area now. Elanga left-footed shot into the side netting. Tried to go goalkeeper's side instead of whipping it to the far corner, and he couldn't find the angle to beat Elborg. Stays just 1-0 to Newcastle.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity. I think it's Voltemade who plays him in. Elanga's just running in on goal. He's got a defender in front of him, tries to step over onto his left foot. I think he's trying to catch the goalkeeper out by going to the near post. For me, that's the wrong option. I think you've got to try and go across the goalkeeper, because even if the goalkeeper does get a hand on it, he's just palming it out there, and somebody like Gordon could be in there for a simple tap in, but a big chance.
Anthony Gordon's goals separate the two teams. More poor distribution by Elborg. He's clattered the ball straight out of play for a Newcastle throw. Sunderland do miss Robin Roos, don't they, Mickey?
Yeah, massive. And Dan Ballard as well. Two key players. But Elborg's came in. Look, if you've already made a mistake, Anthony Gordon's already pressed him down once and nearly won the ball and scored for his side. You know, there was a mistake in the build-up to the goal. Why you keep on trying to play out from the back is beyond me. You've got two centre-halves who are laying a little 2-yard ball to him so he can try and play a diagonal pass. Can the centre-halves not do that? They're Premier League football players. The goalkeeper doesn't need to do it, doesn't need to get involved, or the centre-halves. Just push them up the pitch a little bit more and have that bit of a breather. They're putting that much pressure on themselves. They're making mistakes.
Well, Newcastle are going to do the same thing and play it. Well, no, they're going to leave it for Ramsdale, who will clear.
Yeah, sensible, isn't it? You know, it doesn't make sense to me unless you're going to try and play out from the back and one of your centre-halves plays the ball to your goalkeeper. I understand that. But centre-half to goalkeeper and then playing a diagonal ball, just ridiculous.
It's like, kind of, if in doubt, you know, just get everybody up and just clear your lines. Let's get up there. But for some reason, the Sunderland goalkeeper's thinking, I'm going to show people that I can play out from the back, and he's putting pressure on himself. And you can see Anthony Gordon having a word with him, winding him up.
The ball has been nudged forward by Siddiqui to Brobby. Good turn again just inside the Newcastle half. Sunderland 1-0 down in the Tyne-Wear derby, live here on Talksport, live and exclusive. Reverse run in field by Talby, who plays a good ball to the feet of Hume. He scoops it high to the left. Diarra's cross. It's swirling away from goal all the time, that. Very much behind Brobby, who was nowhere near it. Hall from the left back position finds Barnes, and Newcastle leading 1-0 should get this away. League Cup final still to come on Talksport at 4:30. And forward by Trippier, over the halfway line for Elanga to chase. Alderete the favourite, and he gets there first ahead of Anthony Elanga. Talby rolls the ball backwards, and Sunderland have it again with Hume, who's dropped into the central defensive position. It has been better from Sunderland as this game has gone on, but Newcastle's half 35 minutes in. Here goes Siddiqui, darting up the middle, looking lively here for Sunderland, towards the edge of the D, caught late by Byrne, play goes on, Talby balloons a reverse ball, way too long, and that's going to drift harmlessly out of play. Is it for a goal kick? Yes, Anthony Taylor says it is a goal kick. So Newcastle 1, Sunderland 0 on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, they're here for it. And a little bit of a buzz around St James's Park, as you'd expect. Some of the Newcastle fans heading for the concourse areas ahead of the break, but the vast majority are glued to the edge of their seats here. Eddie Howe watching on down below us as Elanga tries to scamper forward, but it's whipped off his toes by the crafty centre-half Alderete. And now Siddiqui trying to race forward, thought he was fouled, nothing given by Anthony Taylor. Newcastle have it back, having won the 50-50. Byrne crosses the halfway line. Out to the left and Hall. 7 minutes of the first half plus added time to go. Barnes on the outside, then drifts infield. Back onto the left to find Hall again. Jacob Ramsey, middle of the Sunderland half, square to Voltemade, who's been quite a lively presence upfield for Newcastle. I saw Sandro Tonali before the game started, not in the squad today, but certainly encouraging his teammates as they left the field following the warm-up. And the warm-up was an event in itself here at this ground. The noise and the sights and sounds were incredible. Barnes out on the left-hand side, trying to take on Head-Chowder, and he's not got beyond Head-Chowder, but he has been fouled. Newcastle free kick.
Yeah, I mean, I think Harvey Barnes initially is a little bit fortunate because I'm not too sure how he gets it past the defender, but he does, gets a little nick and goes down. For me, I would have just stayed on my feet and gone past him and then just tried to drive in the box, but as it is, Newcastle have the free kick.
He's adamant, isn't he, Harvey Barnes, not to use that left foot, Joe. I think it's last ditch, isn't it? Thought, okay, I need to pass this with my left foot. I think just asking a question of a fullback on the odd occasion, is it because he gets by him enough? He's got the pace to do it. He's done it 2 or 3 times already. Just wrap your left foot around it once or twice and it gets a fullback thinking more of, I know what he's going to do. He's assisted in the Premier League at null and void this season, and I think they could be so much better.
Do it the old-fashioned way. Go on the outside. Correct.
But sometimes you don't have to go past the defender. You can just be a little bit away from him and just whip it around him.
We're in the 38th minute. Newcastle 1, Sunderland 0. Free kick to Newcastle, in by Trippier, very deep and over the top. It sails beyond Elborg's crossbar. And a goal kick to Sunderland at the Lees' end, away to the left-hand side. A lot of Sunderland banners high up at the top of that stand, and they're on their feet. Supposedly it's 140 steps to make it to the top.
I've walked up there a couple of times. Believe me, you need to sit down when you get to the top.
It's a climb, isn't it? As Sunderland go long, and the ball has spun off the head of Joel Linton, nudged forward by Byrne into the path of Hall, and there's real jeopardy in the game here for Sunderland, because if they go 2-0 down, you'd be hard pressed for them to get back into it. Anthony Gordon free out on the left, good sliding challenge by Xhaka. That's the sort of tackle that's been missing from Sunderland. It is a corner.
Yeah, it's a great tackle. I mean, to be fair, it was an all or nothing challenge as well. Thankfully for Sunderland, he did win the ball. If Gordon goes past him, then there is going to be danger for Sunderland. But yet again, another corner for Newcastle. Got to make one of these count. I think for the height, as Mickey was saying earlier, for the height that Newcastle have, with the players that Newcastle have, probably should be doing a little bit better.
Botman and Voltemada and Byrne all lurking at the far post. In comes the delivery from Trippier, and up goes Elborg, doesn't get there, and it's gone beyond the goalkeeper, but beyond everybody in a black and white shirt as well.
He's a bag of nerves, isn't he, Elborg? You can sense it. I think he's having a look around him as that ball's put into the area there from Kieran Trippier. He's got Byrne, Botman, Voltemada, Joel Linton all homing in inside that 6-yard area. He doesn't want to flap his arms anywhere, and they just look really nervy. Newcastle have got to capitalise on set pieces today.
Robbie isolated, but can he hold it up against Botman? He does hold it up against Botman, and Rigg allowed to dart forward with the advantage played. Early ball in by Rigg to the back post. Talby is free, brings it down onto the left foot, low shot, poorly hit, cleared away by Byrne. He really should have tested Ramsdale, Talby, from that sort of range, and again the Sunderland chance came from excellent hold-up play from their number 9.
Brilliant. I think he's had a very good first half, Brian Brobby, I really do. His hold-up play's been nasty. I love that in a striker. If you're not going to score every week, you have to offer something, and that's what he offers. You see him now asking for the ball, and when it doesn't come his way, he's absolutely furious.
Dink in by Rigg. Brobby chests it backwards towards the on-rushing Hair Chowder, only half away by Newcastle, but Gordon tries to pick up on the loose ball, beaten to it by 09. Midway inside the Newcastle half, congested area, Xhaka turns it backwards to Siddiqui, who runs from right to left towards the far side, and now Talby in possession. 5 minutes of the first half to go on Talksport. Newcastle 1, Sunderland 0. Diarra's low ball intercepted by Ramsey. Elanga had nobody to pass to further forward, had to go back to Trippier. Elanga again onto Joel Linton. Oh, that was a clumsy flick by Joel Linton, but it's worked out for Newcastle. Voltemada over the halfway line. Hall racing forward in support to his left. Voltemada goes on, left to Hall. Low ball in, cleared away by Alderete.
Yeah, very good counter-attack from Newcastle. You're just thinking, as Voldemar, as he held on a bit too long, could he play Barnes in? Barnes was asking for the ball, he ignores him. It's Hall on the left-hand side, he's the one that's overlapping. He plays him in. Probably is not the best ball from Hall, but again, another corner. We were just talking about the corner before. The Sunderland goalkeeper does not look comfy when the ball's in the air, especially with the height and the physicality of the Newcastle players. So it's a throw in.
I'd get players around him, Steve, I really would.
Yeah.
I'd pack that 6-yard area, as we see week in, week out, and just keep asking questions of the goalkeeper, Elborg.
He's only 22, Elborg. This is easily the biggest game of his young career. Here comes the long throw from Lewis Hall into the penalty area. Botman wins the flick on. Voltemada on the turn. Cleared away by Talby of Sunderland.
Do you know what? I think that's a half chance, because he takes a touch and he swings his right leg to try and make contact, and I think it clips the edge of his toe. Just not enough, but it was a chance. I bet his eyes lit up.
Well, play to your advantages, Joe, is one of the things. Lewis Hall, as he's through, they've got Botman just on the edge of the 6-yard area, towering above his marker, just for that glance and little flick on. Voltemada does really well. His first touch is very good, but Steve's right, it's just getting away from him.
Hall down the left-hand side for Newcastle, hoists in a great cross, header off the post by Botman, and stabbed away by Alderete. Botman leapt there so high, so gracefully, thundered it towards the corner, back off the woodwork.
Yeah, and again, the atmosphere is lifted with that header. Shouts for a penalty.
Byrne goes down, no foul by 09, says Anthony Taylor. Newcastle throw right in front of the Sunderland dugout.
Well, it'd be interesting. I was just having a look at Dan Byrne's body language as he ran by Anthony Taylor there. He's got one for his troubles as well in the ribs. It's Luke 09 who's grabbing a hold of him. I'm not quite sure if the VAR are going to have a look at this, Joe, but when you start grabbing players in that 18-yard area, you've got, look, he's hanging on to his arm. I think it's a bit of 50-50, I'll be brutally honest with you. I don't think it is a penalty, but be careful.
I think just before that, obviously the Botman header, we're right behind it, just thinking, is it going to creep into the corner, but just hits the side of the post.
Ilanga darting through the middle here for Newcastle, tripped by the retreating Hume. That's a yellow card, first of the derby. Free kick to Newcastle. Oh, and now Joel Linton getting involved with Alderete. Players from both sides going head to head, and the first real flashpoint of the game. Anthony Taylor just watches it, lets it settle down. They'll deal with it between them, the players on the field. It might not be the only yellow card, that booking for Hume, that Anthony Taylor has to dish out, but in a moment, final minute of normal time in the first half, 1-0 to Newcastle. They'll get a free kick within shooting range.
Yeah, it's a cynical challenge. It's definitely a booking. He knows what he's doing. It's kind of one of them ones you see taking one for the team, and I think afterwards it's a little flare up, because I think it's Alderete just boots the ball away. Joe Linton's not happy. Two of them square up. So them two square up, and then a couple of other players get involved. Anthony Taylor does the right thing, just stands back, just takes it all in, see what he can do. He's just having a word now with the two captains, just to calm it down. All the best with that.
Yeah. If you're Sunderland, Joe, now you're happy coming in at half-time 1-0 down. You really are. I mean, Elanga's just broke through there again. You can see they've got that half a yard. You would actually think Sunderland have had the midweek game, not Newcastle. And it's all about adrenaline when you're playing a game like this. I get that, I understand that, but the way Newcastle have approached this first half, it's like they really want it. You know, it's got that feel about no lose. We cannot lose this game. Sunderland feels, right, let's just hang on.
But Sunderland's had a couple of half chances though, Mick, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. I wouldn't say clear-cut opportunities. Obviously, two fell to Chris Rigg, and the other one for Talby. Wonderful save, I have to say, from Ramsdale. But it took a long time for them to get into this derby game. It really did. And you play to your strengths. Every time they get the ball in wide areas, there's only Brobby waiting in the box. You need a little bit more than that.
Mickey Gray and Steve Howie, both sides of the Tyne-Wear divide, represented today here live on Talksport. Free kick to Newcastle. We are actually nearly a minute through, 2 added at the end of the first half. And it's Newcastle, the team in black and white, who lead. Free kick 25 yards out. Right of centre, maybe a little further than that in fact. Trippier with the right foot, or Hall with the left foot. Options for Newcastle are plenty. 4 in the Sunderland wall. Who will it be to strike it? Kieran Trippier leaves it. In by Lewis Hall and gathered by Elborg. Bounce in front of him, good handling from the goalkeeper.
In all fairness, I actually felt Trippier would take it. Very, very good at that, but goalkeeper actually did quite well, because it's a horrible one. Bounces right in front of him, but he gathers it up.
A dummy by Rigg on the halfway line. Retreating is Jacob Ramsey. Good diligent defending from Ramsey to shepherd it back to Ramsdale, having tracked Herr Chowder all the way. A lot of movement in the stands now ahead of the half-time whistle, which isn't far away. We've got 30 seconds or so of added time remaining. 1-0 to Newcastle. Botman to Byrne. Byrne To say that he looks up for this game would be an understatement. He's playing like a fan on the terraces. He used to be a season ticket holder at Newcastle United, and you can see the passion that he's got invested in this fixture. Elanga with his back to goal, holds it up midway inside his own half, draws an obvious foul from Siddiqui, and a free kick to Newcastle. So far so good for Eddie Howe, who marches down the tunnel right in front of us here. It's Newcastle seeking their first Premier League win over Sunderland since August of 2011, and they lead by that all-important goal to nil. Mistake from Sunderland defensively by Luke O'Nien, not helped by his goalkeeper Elborg, and that allowed Anthony Gordon to gleefully smash home the opener for Newcastle United in the early stages. Sven Botman has also hit the post for the home team. At the other end, a couple of half chances for Chris Wigg, but the best chance for Sunderland ultimately came when Kemsdean Taube's effort seemed to be heading for the top corner, but Aaron Ramsdale made a sprawling save to claw it away. All action, high octane, high intensity, just as you'd expect from a Tyne-Wear derby. Newcastle 1, Sunderland 0.
It has been frenetic from start to finish so far. A little bit of a cheeky one there from Aaron Ramsdale as he goes down the tunnel, squeezing his water bottle, and it just so happened to squirt all over Melker Elborg, who had a nervy start to that game and arguably at fault, along with Luke O'Nien, for giving that goal away to Newcastle. Finished brilliantly by Anthony Gordon, but I tell you what, they have been smelling blood, is the phrase that you used, Mickey Gray, early on in commentary. The Newcastle players have been camped along that 18-yard box, waiting for Elborg to play out short. I don't know why he continues to do it. They're there ready to pounce. It just seems so naive.
Well, Faye, if you'd have told me after Newcastle got their goal on 10 minutes that would be the only goal that we saw in that first half, from what I'd witnessed up until then, I wouldn't have believed it. They've looked a threat in that first half. It's all about sometimes approaching a game in the right manner. We always know these games are a battle in the first 10 or 15 minutes, and you win that battle first and foremost. You earn the right to play, and Newcastle certainly did that. They settled into the game, they got the ball into good areas, and they played to their strengths. Get the ball into those wide areas, put the ball in the box. They've had some wonderful opportunities. Elanga, when he broke through his header, was a wonderful header. Deservedly going in at half-time, 1-0 up. Yes, Sunderland have grown into the game in that first 45 minutes. Talby the best opportunity from then, but they must have known in that dressing room what they were coming out to. You've got to be ready for that. And I think there's a few Sunderland players out there that certainly weren't ready in that first 45 minutes, and one of them being the goalkeeper. The occasion has definitely got to some of those players, without a doubt. You could see it written all over their face, and we talked about how incredible the atmosphere was as they walked out to that. As you say, be prepared for it. Is Regis Labrie going to be happy, though, to go in just a goal down, would you say? And perhaps, Steve Howie, Eddie Howe, not so happy that his team haven't at least put one more goal on the score sheet.
Well, I think as Mick said, which is right, I think when Newcastle scored after 10 minutes, you're thinking, this could be possibly 2, possibly 3 going into half-time. I think Regis Labrie will be disappointed, but at the same time, given how the game started, going in 1-0 down, he will be in a weird way a little bit happy with that. I think that Eddie Howe will be looking at that and just saying to the lads, listen, continue on, but we need another goal. If we get another goal, that kind of kills it off. But I'm kind of perplexed really by Sunderland and the goal that they conceded, because they know exactly what Newcastle's going to be doing at the start of the game. So first 10 minutes, when you've got a goal kick, let's clear our lines, let's just get up the pitch. Newcastle set the trap, they fall into it and go goal behind. Crazy. Steve makes some valid points there, Faye, but 19 points Newcastle. They've been in front and they've lost 19 points throughout the whole of the season. That's what the Sunderland players have got to hang on to. When you hear a stat like that, and I'm sure that somebody's having a word with the players in that dressing room right now and saying, look, this game's far from over. 45 minutes to turn it around, and that's what they've got to try and do. Yeah, both teams have got substitutes out warming up as well, so expect some changes as both teams look to make an impact in this second half. But it is Newcastle who lead by a goal to nil. This is Game Day exclusive on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it. Book now at enterprise.co.uk. Right, we're going to head to Wembley next to build up to the Carabao Cup final, and we'll bring you second half commentary of Newcastle Sunderland here at St James's Park.
We all love a good meal, but there's no feeling quite like cooking one. Whether it's everyone at yours for a Sunday roast, or after-school sausage and mash. Quick, simple, gone in minutes. One thing brings it all together. Ah, Bisto. The original gravy. Rich, smooth, and unmistakable since 1908. When the gravy makes the dish, make the gravy. Ah, Bisto.
Game day exclusive on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, we're here for it.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Watching the big game cozied up in the snug.
Another 7-0 win!
Balmy summer nights with the kids playing on the lawn.
We're playing real-life football!
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of April 2024 and 30th of June 2024 was under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
Whoa, he's really opened up the Sun newspaper there, Jim. No question, Clive. Straight in the middle and right into the free pull-out goals. Goals, yes. The ultimate football coverage with the best expert writers. In-depth tactical analysis. Unrivaled coverage from every league and all the latest football action.
Think you've said it all there, Clive.
Sorry, Jim.
Not to worry, I was reading my copy of Goals anyway.
Get your free copy of Goals every Saturday, Sunday and Monday only in the Sun.
On day 3 of leftovers for lunch, have a day off. Switch it up with a double cheeseburger for $2.49 on the McDonald's Saver menu.
Leftovers left the chat.
Talk about saver satisfaction. Served from 11 a.m. Price and participation may vary. Fees apply to delivery orders, subject to availability.
In 10 metres, take a left at the pile of washing.
Sorry, what?
At the Valley of Toy Dinosaurs, approach the kitchen with no room to cook. Turn right at the floordrome. You've reached chaos. Recalculating. Suggest immediate course correction to IKEA for fitted wardrobes, children's storage and cupboard organisers.
Find your way back to calm. Discover smart storage at your local IKEA now. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
At Betfair, we're built for football's dramatic run-in. From European knockout rounds to the league's biggest six-pointers. Where promotion, relegation and title issues can swing on a dodgy VAR call. Can you predict the twists to come? Get a free £10 bet when you bet £10 on Accas or Bet Builders on football this week. Betfair. Play different.
Opt-in required. Free bet valid for 7 days. Minimum 3 legs at 1.5 odds or higher to qualify. T's and C's apply. 18 plus gamblerware.org.
It's another day at Screwfix, and Sir Mo Farah is still getting to grips with things.
So, Mo, with Sprint Delivery, we get the order to them in as little as 20 minutes. Oh, Mo?
Mo? Done. He was on the 18th floor.
Nice work. But, you know we use delivery riders, right?
Oh, now you tell me.
Sprint it in as little as 20 minutes. Screwfix. No stopping you. Conditions and geographical restrictions apply.
Incredible scenes here at the Village Hotel's Pub and Grill. Fans are taking their place in the fan zone with stadium-style seating, amazing views on huge screens, and we're underway. Lovely bit of dribbling there as she tackles the burger stack. Now they're getting down the wings. Sticky barbecue. Unbelievable. Oh, and he's hit the bar. And it's there! His favourite ice-cold beer. What a result! Catch every game live in the Pub and Grill at Village. Get in! Find out more at villagehotels.com.
Game day exclusive on Talksport with Sky Sports. Stream a massive month of sport this March on Sky Sports with a Now Month membership. 18 plus. Stream via internet. Terms apply.
Award-winning live football commentary. Game day exclusive. Talksport.
This is Game Day exclusive on Talksport. Faye Carruthers with you at St James's Park. Newcastle leading Sunderland by 1-0 in what's been a fiery and frenetic first 45 minutes of football. Let's see what the opening half has done to the odds and get the latest from Betfair, the official betting partner of Talksport's Premier League coverage.
Odds update on Talksport with Betfair. Get a free £10 bet when you bet £10 on Accas or Bet Builders on football this week. Opt-in and previous deposit required. Minimum odds and T's and C's apply. 18 plus gamblerware.org.
Alex Boyes is back with us. What has that done to the odds, that first half performance from both sides?
Yeah, I mean, Faye, what a way to gift your biggest rivals a goal. We actually spoke about Anthony Gordon before the game and the fine form that he was in, and he was a really popular pick on the bet builders, on the Betfair Sportsbook before this one, at around 13-8 to score. So well done to any punters on that. And he's now scored in 3 straight Premier League games for the first time in his career. So that goal means his Newcastle side are now priced up at 2-9 to finish this game with the 3 points. And remember, they haven't beaten Sunderland in any of the last 10 Premier League games, so very much in their hands to change things. Sunderland, well, their sort of early time-wasting game plan was sort of out the window with that big error for the goal. So if anyone does fancy backing the Black Cats to turn things around, you can do so at 14-1, but they will need to sort of show a little bit more the away side going forward to get back into this one. A point would also be a decent result for Sunderland, however, currently 9-2 on the Betfair Sportsbook. Quickly on the Bet Builders fee at half-time, I think we have to look at Luke O'Nien for me, following that error and the way that he's struggled with Anthony Gordon. He's 5-2 to be shown a card in the second half, something he's managed in 2 of his last 3 starts before today. And if you double that up with Anthony Elanga to have a shot on target, who I thought looked really bright in that first half. He's put one over early on, he's into the side netting with his second attempt, so he's getting closer, and that double is priced up at 8-1. And remember, with Betfair, Safes Up is available on selected leagues and markets, including in play. So if either of those players were to come off in the second half, your bet would not be over. The selection would roll on to the player coming on to keep your bet right in play to the end of the game. So anyone out there having a bet in the second half, good luck.
Thanks very much, Alex. That odds update is all thanks to Betfair. Returns accurate as of 10 minutes ago. For verification, see betfair.com. Over 18s only. Conditions apply. Go to gamblerware.org.
Odds update on Talksport with Betfair. Get a free £10 bet when you bet £10 on Hackers or Bet Builders on football this week. Opt in and previous deposit required. Minimum odds and T's and C's apply. 18+, gamblerware.org.
Now then, a reminder that following us at 2:30 this afternoon, it's the Carabao Cup final as Arsenal take on Manchester City at Wembley. Our reporter Anil Kandola has been there all morning and he's alongside some fans.
Thank you. Yes, we are just metres away from Wembley as the atmosphere is building very nicely. I'm joined by Manchester City fans, Anne and Barbara. How are we feeling today? The sun's out. Are you feeling confident it's going to be a good day for the Sky Blues?
Quietly confident at the moment. Very tight.
I think it's going to be a case of the master is going to give a few lessons to the student. I haven't got the nerves anyway, and I think the guys who haven't been here before, and there's a few of them obviously who can't play gay, but that's by the by, I think they're probably, we talk about it at breakfast.
Yeah.
Do you think they're nervous? You've got to have a little twinge, haven't you? But with regards, it's all down to Pep. If he picks the right team, we're fine.
Back to you guys, some confident Man City fans as well as Arsenal fans. There's only one way to find out who will come on top, and that will be on Talksport.
Thank you very much, Anil. Adrian Durham anchoring our coverage from Wembley. Aid is with us now. I know you're going to have been there super early this morning, Aid. I know what you're like. It is a cup final is like a cup final for you. A year since Newcastle won the Carabao Cup, their first trophy in 70 years. Arsenal looking to win their first trophy in 6 years, because I'm not counting the Community Shield, sorry. They're on for the quadruple as well. How big is this game for them?
I don't count the Community Shield either. It's gigantic for both, I think. But I can't really make a case for Manchester City. They're really going to have to play to different levels than they have for the last few weeks. Let's have a look at those last 5 games. Yeah, they beat Newcastle in the Cup, but they couldn't beat Forest, couldn't beat West Ham, and got comfortably beaten both legs by Real Madrid. So Manchester City are going to really have to raise their game. And one of the fans there talked about Pep picking the right team. He hasn't done that for the last few weeks either. So if he gets that wrong, this could be a comfortable afternoon for Arsenal, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? We were talking earlier about the kind of master and apprentice thing. It's getting into that realm now, isn't it? And Pep Guardiola really sees Mikel Arteta as a proper threat.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they're the best team in the country. They're arguably the best team in Europe, Arsenal. So he should see him as a threat. I make them comfortable favourites to win this. And the question about Pep's future, is Pep leaving? One paper today saying Pep leaving this summer is starting to feel more real. Well, that can go one of two ways. The players can clock off if they know he's going, or they can start playing for him, and they need to do that if Man City are to win today.
Absolutely. Really looking forward to the coverage on my way back from St James's Park. St George's. I do that all the time. It's the problem with England, isn't it? We cover them and we're there all the time. Thank you very much, Aid. I'll listen to you later on. The atmosphere here at St James's Park has been incredible. Fans getting in early can make a massive difference difference as well in the atmosphere. The Sunderland players just walked out onto the pitch, by the way. But we saw it at Wembley with Crystal Palace at the FA Cup final last year, Newcastle in the Carabao Cup final exactly a year ago, and I think the Arsenal fans have worked out it can give you an edge, because Red Action Gooners on X want supporters in there early because of the extra security checks, and they're going to be playing the Angel, North London Forever, at 4 p.m. The players will be warming up then. That could very much give Arsenal the edge. There is a huddle over on my left-hand side with the Newcastle players, knowing this is a big 45 minutes coming up. This game feels like it's on a knife edge, the Time Weird derby, especially bearing in mind Newcastle's habit of throwing away a lead and putting in below par second half performances as well. Second half about to kick off. Stay with us here on Talksport. Former Newcastle defender Steve Howie, Sunderland Hall of Famer Mickey Gray, and your match commentator here on Talksport, Joe Shannon.
Yes, Newcastle have dropped 19 points from winning positions so far this season, and in the Premier League only Aston Villa have won more points from losing positions than Sunderland, so it's far from done yet on Derby Day. Newcastle lead by a goal to nil as the second half begins, and Newcastle give the ball away straight away, attacking the famous Gallagate end in the second half. Newcastle in the black and white striped shirts, black shorts and black socks, left to right, and Sunderland playing from right to left towards the Lees' end in the blue shirts, white shorts and blue socks. I remind you of the two teams in just a moment, but there are no changes at half-time. Joel Linton holding the ball up for Newcastle only momentarily. Brobby searching up the middle here for Sunderland, and his strike play has been excellent so far, albeit he's not really had the ball in front of goal in a shooting position. Hume looks early for Diarra. Diarra edge of the penalty area now. Out to Lucharel Head-Chowder. Head-Chowder right on the edge of the box. Rolls it square with his left foot to Siddiqui. Good start to the second half from Sunderland. Siddiqui boos from the home support as Sunderland seek an equaliser. Out on the right is Diarra again. Corner of the penalty area. Taking on Barnes. 1-0 down Sunderland. Chris Rigg with the in-swinging delivery. Brobby with a header across. Nobody there to meet it. Cleared away by Jacob Ramsey.
Well, what a start to the second half. Great team talk, obviously, from the manager, Rila Sabri, to get Sunderland on the front foot, and they've certainly done that. Just looks better, Joe, doesn't it? Comfortable on the ball, getting into wide areas, not frightened to put the ball in the area, and just looking for those knockdowns. A lot brighter.
Well, for the first time in the game, the Newcastle supporters have quietened down a little here. Very early stages of the second half. Long throw hoisted into the penalty area by O'Nien. Header away by Dan Burn. The ball will bobble towards the corner flag, and it'll be another Sunderland long throw. Régis Lebris turns away towards the dugout right in front of us here in his club tracksuit. His arms are folded. Eddie Howe, hands in pockets with his black Newcastle jacket on. Here comes the long throw again from O'Nien. Elbows jutting out. Hauls it into the penalty area. Header away by Joel Linton. Turned back out wide by Xhaka. Good ball to find O'Nien. 1-0 to Newcastle, but for how much longer? Sunderland holding it up with O'Nien, who hooks in a left-footed delivery. Headed away by Botman. It'll bounce down to Talby. These are nervy moments early on in the second half for Newcastle. Head-Chowder racing forward now. Edge of the D. Wide to O'Nien. Sunderland attack. Low ball in. Steered away by Byrne. Rigg trying to reach the loose ball. Voltemada has kept that in play. Down by the dead ball line, and he wins Newcastle a goal kick.
I'm not quite sure if I'm right here, Joe, but have they switched Geertruida and Luke O'Nien from centre half to right? No, they haven't. Luke O'Nien's actually gone back into that centre half position now. The only reason I said that was O'Nien's got forward quite a few times on the right hand side in the early stages in this second half and put some decent balls into the area. Thought it was something that Régis Sabri might have done.
I think it was because he was taking the throw-ins over that side. It just so happens that the ball was keep on going back to him.
We'll go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for team news in just a moment. Sunderland from right to left go long through Alderete. Chested down very calmly by Lewis Hall in the left-back position for Newcastle far side. Grey skies overhead as Sunderland win the ball back. A greater intensity about Sunderland early on in the second half. Good turn by Siddiqui out towards the right, but he runs into the sturdy figure of Jacob Ramsey, who carries it forward into the centre circle. Ramsey now over the halfway line. Early ball down the middle. Gordon takes it on. Looks for Harvey Barnes. Barnes nudges it square behind Gordon. Xhaka back to Elborg, and he will clear out of play. Spurs against Forest. Team news. Talksport, Ian Abrahams.
Vicario starts for Spurs despite needing hernia surgery, which he'll have this week. Solanke is back. Xavi Simons scored twice in midweek, is benched. As for Forest, Hutchison starts for them. Spurs and Forest at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
And Talksport can take you to Villa Park. Team news from there comes from Adam Bridge.
Big news for Villa. Yuri Tielemans is back on the bench. He's been out since the end of January. 3 changes for them from the side that lost to Manchester United last weekend. Bogard, Mings and Buendia join Tielemans on the bench. Cash Pow and Sancho into the starting 11. West Ham, no Somerville for them, so they're unchanged from the draw with Manchester City.
The League Cup final is at 4:30. Arsenal against Manchester City. It'll be live and in full right the way through until its conclusion here on Talksport. We're 5 minutes into the second half. Newcastle 1, Sunderland 0. Ramsdale is the Newcastle goalkeeper. Trippier, Botman, Byrne and Hall. Ramsey and Joel Linton. Elanga, Voltemada and Barnes. Behind the scorer of the only goal of the game, that's Anthony Gordon. Sunderland go long with Hume. Down the middle towards Brobbey, who got a half touch on it in that battle with Botman. It's steered upfield by Byrne, and the referee pulls the play back for a foul by Brobbey on Botman. Free kick to Newcastle. I'll just run through the Sunderland team for you. Elborg, the goalkeeper. Hertrauder, O'Nien, Alderete and Hume. Xhaka holding. Rigg, Diarra, Siddiqui and Talbi in support of Brobbey up front. Botman's going to need the physio on, so let's get another word from the former Sunderland man, Mickey Gray.
Well, Steve might be in a better position to answer this one himself there, but Botman's head went very low there, Steve, didn't it? And Brobbey, he's just kind of raised his left foot, and I think he's caught him around the nose or the forehead area. I don't know if there's any blood there, but the physios have came on. But brighter start from Sunderland.
Yeah, Sunderland have started by far the better team in this second half. You can imagine Reginald Breeze would have been saying in the dressing room to his players, you know, boys, if we're going to go down, let's go down fighting. So they have started quite well. But yeah, just with that one with Botman, he has bent his head down. I think Brobbey has caught him. If he's caught him on the nose, that do sting. He's getting some treatment here. I think he should be fine.
Malik Chow warming up at the moment.
Well, funny enough, Joe, it was about 30 seconds ago, Dan Byrne ran across to the technical area, the Newcastle technical area. He got a whack on the ribs in the first half, and he was shaking his head. I don't know if he was saying himself that he's ran his day and he needs to make a change. But certainly somebody's got a concern, whether it's a goalkeeper or one of the centre-halves from Newcastle. And it wouldn't surprise me if there is an early change for Newcastle here.
I think Dan Byrne in particular will want a better all-round end to this fixture, given what happened last fixture, because obviously they got beat and then of course he had to go off. I think he had that really bad injury. He spent some time in hospital, so he'll want to change his fortune today.
Feels a long time ago, doesn't it, that fixture on the 14th of December, the Nick Voltemada own goal with what was virtually the only chance of that derby game. Botman is sitting up now, but is he going to be able to carry on? There's a chance for both sets of players to come across the near side touchline, and Sunderland watch on as Newcastle, I think, preparing to make a change here on the near side. It doesn't seem like Botman can continue.
It certainly looked like there was a change in the reckoning, didn't there? And Botman's been down for quite a while now. Looking auspicious, but I have to say he's a bit shaken. Doesn't look like there's any blood or anything. He just took a whack to the face and looks like he just can't continue. And Thiaw coming on, who has been a regular pretty much this season, Joe, so he's going to settle straight into that back four.
Well, he's understandably looking very disappointed here, Sven Botman. He wipes his brow with his black and white shirt. The Newcastle fans on their feet all around the stadium here, and Malik Chow will take to the field in just a few moments. We're right behind the Newcastle dugout. Eddie Howe pacing up and down inside the technical area. We can almost see the whites of his eyes as Botman walks slowly down the tunnel, accompanied by 2 Newcastle physios, and on jogs Chow, who started the defeat at Barcelona in the middle of the week. How that will pale into insignificance for Newcastle if they can secure a victory here. The referee Anthony Taylor's come across now to chat with Régis Lebris. Hertrauder is there, so too is Lebris's assistant Michael Proctor. Not entirely sure what this conversation is about, Mickey Gray, but Hertrauder has spoken to the 4th official. And now Anthony Taylor, having chatted with Régis Lebris, is having a similar conversation with Jason Tindall, Eddie Howe and Kieran Trippier.
Well, let's hope it's not what we think it is. Yeah. Anthony Taylor's come across and had a word with Régis Lebris. He's done the right thing. I didn't see the hands being crossed by the referee, I think, which is the sign that shows there's been some racism in the ground. It's the last thing that we want. We just want to see a great game of football. He obviously looked a little bit upset, but I hope he's okay. Voldemar has actually put his arm around him. Dan Burn did exactly the same thing. I hope he's going to be fine.
Well, I'm sure we'll get more detail on that as the second half unfolds, but he certainly made a very obvious point, did Anthony Taylor, of going across to both managers, both sets of coaching staff, both captains, and Trippier's got his arm around Brobby at the moment, and you can hope, of course, that nothing has been said to Brian Brobby from someone in the crowd, but it does look as though, sadly, that is possible. If we get more detail on it, we'll bring it to you here on Talksport. Header away by Head Chowder for Sunderland. Hook back into the penalty area. Barnes for Newcastle. Brings it down. Looks to spin and turn and shoot. Down goes the Sunderland defender Diarra. And in the end, Sunderland get a free kick inside their own penalty area. 10 minutes into the second half. Newcastle 1, Sunderland 0. And Steve Howie, former Newcastle defender, it's a much cagier game at the moment.
Yeah, it's a little bit scrappy. I think Sunderland have started the better of the two. Newcastle really haven't found the feet in the second half. As I said, a little bit scrappy, just need to get back into the game.
Good flick by Brobby down the middle. Talby on the edge of the D here, setting it into the penalty area for Chris Reed. The angle is tight and he tests Ramsdale, who palms the ball away, double-handed for a Sunderland corner. Much, much better from Sunderland early in the second half, but they're still 1-0 down.
Yeah, it's bright. There's more intensity. There's more assurance in the passing when they're playing forward. The hold-up play again is very good, and they're not trying to rush their shots. Really well worked. Chris Reed could have had a hat-trick, by the way. That was his best opportunity.
The 18-year-old threatening for Sunderland. Plenty of blue shirts forward in the penalty area here. Xhaka swings in the corner, left-footed, punched away by Ramsdale, back in by Hume, and turned in by Talby. Sunderland a level. Kempstein Talby, mad on the spot, and high up in the gods, the Sunderland fans have gone mad. 3,500 cheer, a deserved equaliser. Kempstein Talby reacted first, and it's game on in the Tyne-Wear derby. It's Newcastle 1, Sunderland 1.
Well, what a brilliant reaction in this second half. The pressure's paid off for Sunderland. It's a great ball in over on that right-hand side from Granit Xhaka, and I have to say, Aaron Ramsdale, he flaps at it a little bit. He doesn't really clear his lines properly. And what Sunderland do is you just keep it alive. But it looked like they were queuing up at that far post to put the ball in the back of the net. Was it going to be Brobby? But as it goes into the back of the net, gets a bit of good fortune, but being in the right place at the right time from a couple of yards out, he's just poked that ball into the back of the net. All they deserve in the second half, Sunderland.
You've got to see it. It's actually been coming. I mean, it is a wonderful ball in from Xhaka. I think Dan Burn does brilliant as well. He clears one off the line, but it comes back out. It's finished off by Talby. We have got now game on.
And again, Newcastle have failed to hold on to a lead in the Premier League, and Sunderland have battled back in the Premier League from a goal down. Kempstein Talby with it. 1-1 the score. And it could have gone in from any number of players. Hume was close, Brobby as well, but it's Talby who's drilled it beyond Ramsdale. And joy unconfined for the Sunderland fans high up in the Leazes. Arms outstretched, flags being unfurled, red and white scarves being waved, and of course there are one or two with their tops off as well, Mickey Gray.
Absolutely, yeah. This is a boiling day for them today, Joe. Why not? Of course, they're enjoying themselves, but I love this reaction. They've been waiting for it for 45 minutes. Will it certainly come in this second half? And yet again, Newcastle losing a lead.
Forward by Xhaka, high and long for Sunderland, headed away by Malik Chow, comes out to Hume, who was poised to shoot from the edge of the D, but the referee had spotted a foul anyway. Steve.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I thought Mick was going to take his top off at one point there.
We've smuggled Mickey Gray.
Still plenty time to go, yeah.
If they go 2-1 up, I'm pretty sure that'll happen.
We've seen Paolo Di Canio knee sliding on this ground in celebration in the past. What price a Mickey Gray knee slide before the end of the day? Cleared upfield by Botman for Newcastle, so 1-1 on Talksport. As we head towards the hour mark with the League Cup final to come. Is that a foul on Voltemada? It is, as Siddiqui came across. I think Siddiqui's been excellent in this second half in terms of carrying the ball forward effectively, Mickey.
No, absolutely, his energy's there. He wants to try and get involved in the game. And I love to see players who want to make the difference, certainly in a game like this.
Newcastle attacking the Gallagate end in the second half, but a lack of spark about Newcastle so far. Régis Lebris very animated, a few feet in front of us on the near side touchline. Newcastle 1, Sunderland 1 on Talksport with Sky Sports. Don't forget that with Now you can stream all the Sky Sports action flexibly, like Spurs against Nottingham Forest live today. Search Now Sports. Cleared away by Sunderland only as far as Alanga, who gives it straight to Herr Trauder. Frustration from the Newcastle fans raining down the noise onto the field at the moment, but it's Sunderland who are very much on top, although it's given away by Diarra. Gordon down the middle, well won back by Diarra. He sprinted back to win it back, and Elborg will clear it upfield for Sunderland, headed down by Joel Linton. Alanga with his back to goal wins a free kick for Newcastle.
Just a couple of occasions, Alanga. I mean, for me, obviously we'd mentioned before about the lack of goals that he scored in the Premier League, and yeah, of course he scored 2 against Barcelona. He has to do better. Just giving the ball away too cheaply. Get the ball, run at your defender, take him on with the ball and get the crowd up. I'd be surprised if the manager, Eddie Howe's, not looking at his bench. We all know what Murphy can do. He's not shy of whipping the ball in. Could be making a change, but as yet he's still on the pitch.
Right on cue, Jacob Murphy and Joe Willock stripped and ready to come on in the black and white of Newcastle. First, though, they had a free kick. 1-1 as Diarra goes down on the edge of his own penalty area, helped to his feet by Byrne, who looms over the top of Diarra. Free kick to be taken by either Trippier or Hall. It'll be left to Kieran Trippier to deliver, right-footed, header away by Herr Trauder. The ball will bounce out to the right, and Hume clears upfield. Talby, the goal scorer, chasing. Trippier across to shepherd it back to Ramsdale. A bobbling ball. Ramsdale with a short pass. Hall under pressure, not a good clearance, only as far as Diarra. Diarra urged forward, racing down the middle here for Sunderland, up to the edge of the Newcastle penalty area. Now Brobby with his back to goal. Back to Granit Xhaka. Xhaka looks up from a long way out, takes the shot, deflected onto the roof of the net. Some of the Sunderland fans thought it was in. It's a corner.
My goodness, I have to say, we're right on the halfway line, and I thought that was dipping in. It took a wicked deflection from Granit Xhaka's strike. He was looking around, wasn't he, left and right, can I play the ball off? But he thought, no, I'm going to just get me laces through there. And Ramsdale is shuffling back towards his goal line, hoping that goes over the top of the crossbar.
I mean, I think you can always tell by the goalkeeper's reaction, and he was pedalling, and you could see there was terror in his eyes, thinking that's going to beat me. But luckily for Newcastle, it just dips over the bar. The Sunderland fans thought it was in, but it's not. It's a corner.
Steve Harry and Mickey Gray with us on Talksport. Corner, Xhaka takes it short to Rigg, right edge of the penalty area, back to Xhaka to hoist it in, header away by Byrne in front of Ramsdale. It bounces down to the edge of the Newcastle box, flick cleared by Barnes, not too far, one back by Alderete high up the field. Alderete in a shooting position, blocked off by Voltemada. Newcastle win it back, Ramsey's early ball, Voltemada over the top, Gordon didn't know where it was. It's floated over his head, and easy for Elborg to come out and win it back. We've had 63 frenetic, ferocious minutes in the Tyne-Wear derby. Newcastle 1, Sunderland 1, and it's anyone's guess which way this derby is going to go. The 157th meeting between them in League and Cup. Murphy and Willock, that's Jacob Murphy, still waiting to come on for Newcastle.
Just the fans there, you would have heard them furious at Gordon because he was too busy kind of complaining that the ball didn't come through, but then it did come through. But by that time he'd stopped and give up.
Well, no sign of Sunderland giving up the fight even after a relatively disappointing run of form of late. The ball is given away by Trippier. Straight to Hume. Hume early ball over halfway. Chow, clever flick infield to Ramsey. Ramsey's touch to find Voltemade, edge of the centre circle. And now Hall, 10 yards inside the Sunderland half. Out to the far side, east stand side, and Harvey Barnes, who's blocked off by his opposite number, Chris Rigg, who's had an excellent game. It's going to be a triple change for Newcastle, Mickey.
Yeah, I think Eddie Howe knows that he's got to freshen things up when he's bringing the experience on. Steve mentioned it before. Jacob Murphy, they need somebody to provide service, and I think this is no surprise to anybody that Elanga's coming off. The fans were starting to give him a little bit of pressure. It wasn't working for him. Another one, Voltemade. He was involved in the first goal for Newcastle. I think he can be quite pleased actually with his performance. Done very well, albeit he's not got himself on the score sheet, but overall he's done very well. And that one more change, is it going to be Trippier coming off? Livramento certainly coming on. Yes, it is, yes. So Livramento just gives them that bit of more pace, bit more impetus. Because I've got to say, first half, Newcastle won every second ball, but in the second half, it's flipped on its head. It's Sunderland who are now winning the second balls, but we have got a derby now.
Understandable changes, Steve. 3 made by Eddie Howe.
Yeah, I mean, I'd said before that I could see that players warming up. Thought Murphy would come on. He just gives you something different. He is more direct. He helps out a little bit more than what Elanga does. I think Voldemar's maybe find himself a little bit unlucky, but I can understand that as well with the pace of Willock. Livramento, I like Livramento, very, very good player. Loves to bomb forward as well, comfortable on the ball. So no surprise for me.
Named in the England squad this week. Newcastle 1, Sunderland 1. We are nearly into the final quarter of the game. Jacob Murphy pings a ball into the penalty area, headed away by Granit Xhaka. I don't know how we've raced through 21 minutes of the second half already. Joel Linton nudges the ball down the middle, only half away. Jacob Murphy takes a shot, palmed away by Elborg, not entirely convincingly. Corner to Newcastle at the Gallowgate.
Yeah, it kind of comes of nothing really, but the ball goes to Murphy. Again, we're right behind it. It's on his right foot. You can see him, he's trying to cut across the ball, and as he cuts across it, that's going to give it that swerve from outside the post to come back in. Just doesn't quite get enough on it, but still a great strike. Goalkeeper does well, gets behind it, just gets his hands to it, basically thinking I ain't going to take a chance by catching this. Gets it out for another corner to Newcastle.
Taken short by Gordon to Ramsey. He plays it back. Harvey Barnes, Anthony Gordon whacks it onto the chest of Barnes. Didn't really want the ball there. They've gone all the way back to Livramento. 35 yards out, low shot, comes off 09. That's going to spiral towards the dead ball line, and Elborg gets across to prevent it going out of play for a corner.
Do you know, Joe, I was here about 3 or 4 weeks ago when Newcastle played Everton, and Anthony Gordon was getting a lot of stick in the game, and I think it's kind of divided of how supporters like him and other supporters wouldn't be too fussed if he actually left this club, and there was speculation of certain clubs, Liverpool being one of them, and maybe moving on, and I'm hearing it now.
And he can still make himself a hero. Jacob Murphy's cross in towards Barnes, great header away by 09, and he was fouled. We'll get the reaction to that bit of defending from Mickey and Steve Howie in just a moment, but first, 1-1 at St James's. For the latest odds, you can head to Betfair, our official Premier League betting partner. Newcastle to win at 5-4, Sunderland at 5-1, the draw 11-10. That's all thanks to Betfair, playing a different league this season with safe sub from Betfair, 18+, gambleaware.org. Now I know it was a foul, but what a header by Luke 09.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But, I mean, it was one of them. I'm just looking as well at Murphy. That's the difference with Murphy. The ball comes to him, doesn't hesitate. He doesn't have to go past his full-back. He just gets it out his feet and whips it in.
Just over 20 minutes to go. Hertrauder wins the ball back for Sunderland, and now Rigg can scamper forward over the halfway line. Good reverse ball out to the right, brilliant ball to pick out Hertrauder. Brobby's in the middle, Hertrauder delivers over the head of Brobby, headed away by Chow, not very far, nudge clear by Hall, only as far as Xhaka. No handball, back from Hertrauder to Diarra. Sunderland are still on the attack here with the score 1-1. In by Hertrauder, Brobby goes near post, hit by Siddiqui, good save by the goalkeeper. Turned away by Ramsdale, instinctive save.
Oh, what a chance. I mean, Siddiqui there just got a place at either side of Aaron Ramsdale. But it's all Sunderland now. You can hear these Geordie supporters are getting frustrated with Newcastle giving the ball away, playing the wrong passes. I don't know what happens to them, Joe. Newcastle in second halves of football matches, but they've completely switched off.
Just a big chance for Siddiqui there. He's just got to aim for the far corner. Just try and place it in rather than power. So let off for Newcastle.
Joe Willock at the other end, Gallagate end, wide left, Lewis Hall with the cross, Jacob Murphy back post, headed away, taken off his toe by Trey Hume to flick it clear. So much jeopardy still in the game with the score at 1-1. It's on a knife edge, the Tyne-Wear derby.
It certainly is, and I think Newcastle, what they've done very well, I have to say, from Hall and from Murphy since he's came onto the pitch, they've put 3 great balls into the area, asking questions of this back line of Sunderland.
In comes the long throw of Livramento. Byrne goes down at the near post, nothing given, headed away, on hit by Vance on the half volley, deflected, wide of goal. That could have gone anywhere off the right boot of Harvey Barnes. Newcastle wanted a penalty initially, and then the ball trickled towards goal. I'm not sure Elborg was getting there. It's a corner.
Yeah, I was pushing and shoving. You see Byrne is the one that goes down, and it's a half header out. It's Barnes with a shot. He properly shanks it. It's always gone miles wide. It takes the deflection off one of the Sunderland players, and it's one of them ones that looks as though it's just rolling, crawling into the corner. You can see the goalkeeper trying his best to get across. I don't think he would have. It's gone out for a corner.
Hit Head Chowder, didn't it, Steve? And well, he was totally stranded there, Elborg. 1-1, corner to Newcastle. 20 minutes left on Talksport. Delivered in by Lewis Hall. Up goes Byrne. Elborg tried to palm it over the top, and he got a touch. Well, I thought he got a touch. Goal kick's been given instead.
Well, I think that's a bit of a let-off, Joe. It is. I'll be brutally honest with you. Anytime that ball goes anywhere near Elborg, I'm a bag of nerves. He's flapping at things. You know, Dan Byrne's towering over the top of him there. He's just got to stand. He doesn't even have to leap to try and get any contact on that header. Those balls into the box are coming now, and they're putting pressure on Sunderland, and it's worrying. It is. They played ever so well in the second half, Sunderland, I have to say, but you still do feel a little bit nervy when Newcastle catch them on the break.
Ramsdale's going to come out and collect the ball on the edge of his 6-yard box here. 19 minutes remaining. Remember, the build-up to the League Cup final from 2:30 here on Talksport. Kick-off at 4:30. Arsenal against Manchester City to come. Willock has carried the ball out of play. They did beat Sunderland in the FA Cup, Newcastle, in 2024, but no Premier League win against them for many a year. 2011, the last time they beat Sunderland in the Premier League. Willis Sula, a recent goal-scoring hero against Manchester United, is going to come on for Sunderland shortly. It says everything about Sunderland's display that they haven't made a change in the second half yet.
Well, he's done ever so well the last couple of weeks, hasn't he, Osula? That goal against Manchester United buoyed him with confidence as well. He's got pace.
Great skill by Rigg, gliding into the area. Early ball, Brobby back to goal. Brobby on the turn, he shoots, and it's blocked by Chow. Headed away by Willock, it bounces down. Lewis Hall will hook it clear, only as far as Head Chowder. Head Chowder's crossed into the penalty area, headed behind by Livramento for a corner.
Yeah, you can hear the Newcastle fans not happy at all, but just that chance there as well. When ball goes into Brobby, again he does ever so well. So strong, he just keeps the defender off. I'm just thinking, is he going to lay it off? Is there any Sunderland player he can lay it off to? He decides to take it on his own, but it's blocked. Newcastle can't quite clear it. Again, you can hear the fans obviously very frustrated, not happy with the way things is going. Sunderland now have a corner, but it seems to be all Sunderland.
And it does not get much more nervy for Newcastle fans than this. Corner at the Lees' end for Sunderland. 17.5 minutes to go, 1-1. Trey Hume standing over it, hoisted in high to the back post. Up went 09, only half cleared by Newcastle. Rolled back by Xhaka. Lutcherel Head-Chowder takes a touch, thought about a shot on the edge of the D. Head-Chowder onto the left foot, works it wide to the near side. Hume with the reverse ball, thundered away upfield by Willock. Out comes Elborg, up to the centre circle nearly here, the goalkeeper, and he's calm in possession. Plays it square to Siddiqui. Siddiqui thumps it upfield, and that's going to take one bounce, swirling through the grey skies, gathered by Ramsdale.
Yeah, the quality wasn't there from Trey Hume. He just kind of rushed his cross a little bit, never getting anywhere near past the first man. It was easy for Newcastle to clear their lines, wasn't it? They're making another change here, Joe. I think you'll get a big cheer if it is Anthony Gordon coming off and Osula coming onto the pitch. I'm not quite sure whether they're going to put him in a wide position and take Barnes off. Sorry, not Barnes off, somebody else. But yeah, they need something in those forward areas, Newcastle.
Ramsey's got the ball midway into the Sunderland half, trying to jostle his way beyond Diarra. Now Jacob Murphy looks for Joel Linton, wide out on the right. Here is Tino Livramento taking on the defender. Livramento in a crossing position, and he wins a corner off Hume. Again at the Gallowgate end. We're waiting for Asula to come on shortly.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who he does take off. I agree with Mickey. I think it is one of them ones. If it does come up and it's the Newcastle 10, that will be Gordon off. He does frustrate fans. He's one of these where he can be very good, he can be devastatingly good with his pace, but sometimes he can be very, very frustrating.
Well, the corner's going to be taken by Hall. Left-footed in, swinging into the 6-yard box, headed in! Malik Chow! With a Derby Day goal at the Gallowgate end, and for Newcastle fans, it doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, again, I mean, we've both picked up on it. Mick in particular.
Or is it going to be ruled out, Steve?
Well, it looks as though it could be ruled out.
Anthony Taylor has given Sunderland a free kick, I think. So it stays 1-1.
Yeah, but as I said, Mickey was mentioning it a few times, the goalkeeper didn't look comfortable at all when the ball was coming in. Chow looked to put Newcastle back in front. We're just watching now. Is it a foul?
VAR checking it.
A bit of block on him.
Well, I mean, I've lost count of how many players are inside of that 6-yard area, Joe, as that ball comes into the area. And that is down to the pressure on the goalkeeper. They know he's flapping at things, Elborg. I mean, is it a handball? It's gone to VAR.
Tell me what's wrong with that. Is there anything wrong with that?
Well, sorry, Steve. I think it's what we see week in, week out, I have to say. We see Arsenal do it a lot. The goal has been disallowed. But, I mean, there's that many players in there. How he can pinpoint something and say it was a foul, it was a handball, I do not know.
Jacob Murphy, they've said.
Yeah, it's a let-off for Sunderland. They look so nervy at set pieces.
I'm just not sure whether it's the player in front of the goalkeeper. Is he sort of obstructing his view or what, or is it the physicality of it? I mean, it's a little bit soft, I have to be honest, but it is what it is. But it was Harvey Barnes as the player that's come off for Asula, so be interesting to see what Asula can do. He's quick, he can be dangerous.
So Asula onto the field, and it's still 1-1 here on Talksport. That Chow goal ruled out for a foul by Jacob Murphy. Thought he'd put Newcastle back in front. Thunderous clearance downfield by Ramsdale, only half away. Drops down for Anthony Gordon. Gordon to Hall on the corner of the penalty area. Head Trowder makes a good tackle again. And Xhaka threads the ball forward to Brobby, who's held it up outside the centre circle. Brobby square into the path of Hume. Hume carries the ball over halfway. Angled out left to Talby. Talby taking on Livramento here. Goes on the inside and is blocked off summarily by Livramento. Down by the dead ball line, back to Chow, who hooks the ball into touch, and so it's still in the balance, Mickey Gray.
Yeah, well, a bit of good fortune, as we've just been having a conversation about there. You know, you see it every single week, don't you? There's a little bit of contact, whether it's an away player or a home player. But I think at times, this is where it boils over the frustration, doesn't it, Joe? Because we see it with the VAR, players getting involved, but I couldn't believe how many players I could actually see inside that 6-yard area as that ball came in and the foul was given.
It didn't seem like there was anything wrong with it, though.
No, it didn't. Yeah, it's a let-off for Sunderland.
Luke O'Nien will take the throw for Sunderland from the near side, the left. Into the penalty area, header away by Byrne. It'll bounce down to Asula. Back to goal for his first touch. Looks for Livramento in the right-back position. Livramento charged down by Hume, and it's a throw. We do have a statement from the Premier League Match Centre that says that today's match between Newcastle and Sunderland was temporarily paused at the start of the second half after a report of discriminatory abuse from the crowd directed at Lutz Scherrell, head Trowder of Sunderland. This is in line with the Premier League's on-field anti-discrimination protocol. The incident will be fully investigated, say the Premier League. We offer our full support to the player and both clubs, and of course, rightly, it goes on to say, racism has no place in our game or anywhere in society. Newcastle go long downfield, and 09 very craftily wins it back, but then he nearly gives it away. Xhaka having to slide in and force it towards the dead ball line, kept in by Alderete, but it hasn't been cleared very far. 1-1 the score. Joel Linton, edge of the D, wide to Gordon, back to Joel Linton, shot could be on right-footed, takes a deflection, bounces down, Rigg clears it away left-footed. That was perilously close to his arm, the way the ball bounced up there, and our Newcastle from left to right threatening to finish the stronger.
Well, you would like to think so. As I said, there's not much left in the game. Piling everything forward. Eddie Howe showed his hand. He's put pretty much everybody on. All attacking players as well. Feels as though he's got to go for this, especially being at home.
Well, I'm not sure Mickey Gray would like to think Newcastle are finishing the stronger. Here is Xhaka giving it straight to Joel Linton, who slides in to win it back for Newcastle. Willock over the halfway line. Early ball swirling towards Gordon on the edge of the penalty area. Gordon taking on head. Trouder. Gordon curls it over the top.
He's worked it really well, hasn't he, Anthony Gordon? It's just the end product, what's not there. Hands went straight to his face. Decent ball over the top from Joe Willock. After Granit Xhaka it was, I think, giving the ball away, just shaking hands with Joe Linton there. I think there was a coming together, but yeah, there's no doubt. I think, yes, the goals got chalked off, but it's given Newcastle that bit of momentum that they've been searching for. The crowd's now back involved in the game when they were getting on the players' backs. They need that 12th man to see them towards that finishing line. Still a goal in this game, Joe.
Yeah, and I thought actually should have been then. Gordon has a great opportunity, does all the hard work, opens it up, doesn't hit the target.
1-1, 10 to go, forward by Rigg, Robbie chasing, out comes Ramsdale to clear it away. Well, you're right on the edge of your seat watching this game. It is worth saying, actually, for the goal that was disallowed, Jacob Murphy was in an offside position in front of the goalkeeper, but it was given for a foul or disallowed for a foul rather than an offside as such.
Yeah, try and pick something out of that pack of wolves, if you like, Joe, that were inside of that 6-yard area. So difficult to see things with a human eye. Sometimes that's when we do actually need VAR to intervene. I'm not saying I'm a big fan of it, but I am on this occasion.
Here is Hume at centre circle, ball chipped high down the inside right. Rigg has got the wrong side of Lewis Hall and he's managed to control it down by the dead ball line. Hall standing him up, Rigg looks up, whips in the cross towards Brobby, knocks it down, Brian Brobby, and now Head Trouder across goal, could drop for Brobby again, onto the left foot, Chow in the way, cleared away, Xhaka blocked off by his own man, Rigg, who slid in. And now Hume from distance goes for goal. That takes a deflection. Headed away by Joel Linton. And now Asula breaking forward. Blocked off by Alderete. That's going to be a yellow card. Chaos at St James's Park. But most significantly, Rigg made a fantastic block to deny Xhaka.
It's a wonderful challenge. Sliding challenge.
You'd have liked that, Steve.
Oh, absolutely love that one. I'd have been jumping up and giving it the sort of fist clench thing to the fans, and they would have loved it as well. Yeah, and you can see Xhaka's kind of limping a little bit because he kicked his teammate's boot. But yeah, it was a big chance, but we can hear it. Everybody's got that expectation, as you said. Everybody's on the edge of the seats. Not much left of the game, so it's all there for somebody. Who's going to be the hero? Who's going to be the villain?
Well, so often there is one or the other in games like this. 8 minutes to go plus added time. Newcastle 1, Sunderland 1. Long goes Ramsdale, header on by Byrne. Chow was in there, out comes the goalkeeper. Chow beaten to it anyway, and he committed a foul, says the referee, on Luke 09. So 1-1 on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it, book now at enterprise.co.uk. Another slightly nervy moment for Sunderland, Mickey Gray.
Yeah, Luke 09 again, this time clearing his lines. I think it's very fortunate he actually made contact with that ball there, because Chiao was in again, and it's that straight ball up to Dan Byrne, unmarked really because of his height, the little glancing header, and it's been like that all afternoon, to be honest with you. That's been a really worrying sign for Sunderland from set pieces. Can I just say, Joe, Steve, I hope you agree, Brian Brobby has been absolutely outstanding today.
Yeah,
he has been fantastic.
I guarantee that the centre-halves, whether it's Botman, Byrne or Chow, when they sit in the dressing room, they know they've been in a game today.
Headed down by Willock to the halfway line. Kempstein Tauby scoops it forward for Sunderland down the left. Nudged clear by Chow. Enzo Lefebvre stripped and ready to come on in the change blue shirt of Sunderland. Talby down the middle here to Brobby. Brobby's in the penalty area. The angle is against him. Brobby onto the right foot, lays it square. Hit by Diarra, low, blocked by Hall. And steered upfield by Asula, but it keeps coming back at Newcastle. Sunderland from right to left. Talby from distance can hit it. Oh, he's smacked it well wide there, Talby.
God, what a chance. 2 in the space of about 10 seconds. Again, Newcastle panicking, clearing their lines. But the first one was Diarra. It was a little bit behind him. He tried to pull it out of his feet, kept it low, couldn't quite get enough pace on. But Talby, oh my goodness, his eyes must have lit up, but he scuffed his shot a little bit in the end. But another big chance.
Just feel the tension in here. I mean, it's fantastic. I think even for a neutral, for a Sunderland fan, for a Newcastle fan, you can almost taste it. It's great to be part of it.
It's such a storied fixture, and it's been great to have it back in the Premier League this season. Off goes Diarra to be replaced by the Frenchman Lefebvre, who had been out due to injury, but is back in and on the field now. Newcastle or Sunderland with 5.5 minutes left to find a winning goal. Asula beaten in the centre circle by Alderete and then given away by Lefebvre with his first touch. Asula bullies himself down the middle. He's still going clear here. Asula looks for Willock in the penalty area. Willock left-hand edge, back to Gordon. Gordon, lovely shimmy, right-footed shot, curled over the top of the bar.
Yeah, that's his second time he's had the ball where he's managed to get the room, create the space, just needs to then take that breath and place it with pace, but he doesn't twice. Now he's got it over the bar when he should be hitting the target. Somebody of his quality should be hitting the target.
Needs his Champions League boots on, Joe, doesn't he? Anthony Gordon.
He does. Well, he did score the winner at Chelsea in that win for Newcastle a couple of
But he said he nearly missed that.
Yes.
In the interview, his feet caught together, didn't he? And I think he was quite fortunate, or relieved, when the ball bobbled into the back of the net.
Just over a week ago, that Chelsea win. Chow nodding the ball down on the halfway line, and he's won it well for Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Sunderland 1. Absolutely breathless here on Talksport. Gordon out in the left wing position, taking on Head Chowder, scampering down the left, delivering the cross. A good header away there by 09. If he hadn't made it, it would have dropped for Asula.
Good bit of play by Gordon. Does the step over, gets the byline, a little dink, but it's good defending from Sunderland.
And Head Chowder clears upfield, slices it out of play for a throw, and it's a throw that has gone Sunderland's way. Actually, there must have been a deflection on that, Mickey Gray.
Yeah. 09's done better, hasn't he, in the second half? Calmed himself down a little bit. He's been a defender first and foremost. Head it and kick it, being in the right place at the right times, just clearing his lines. First half he was very nervy.
Good ball over the top. Siddiqui for Sunderland down the right hand side, surging towards the edge of the penalty area. 2 in the middle. Siddiqui has held it up. He can knock it backwards here into the path of Rigg, who lets it run across his body and takes all the momentum out of the attack. Back it goes to Alderete, a long way from goal here. 1-1, Alderete forward to Trey Hume, down the inside left, bundled over by Jacob Murphy. Nothing wrong with that challenge. Goal kick away to the left hand side to Newcastle United. Johan Wissa is going to come on here for Newcastle. Not really happened for him in his Newcastle career so far, but a chance to maybe make himself a hero.
Yeah, it's a perfect opportunity for him. I mean, since he's been at the club, obviously went away, came back injured, was out a long time, but he has been in it. Just hasn't really worked for him. Fans obviously kind of questioning, but this is an opportunity. Comes on late, can he get that big all-important goal?
And he's still getting some instructions, not onto the field just yet, but I think he will be shortly. And Joel Linton chesting the ball down on the edge of the centre circle, but losing possession to Rigg. Now out on the left for Sunderland is Talby. Brobby in the middle, joined by Lefebvre and others, and Talby wins a corner for Sunderland. A goal here would surely win the derby for either side.
Well, I'm loving the energy late on in the game from both sides. They're still both going to try and get that winning goal. And as Steve mentioned there before, does anybody want to be that hero? Does anyone want to put their name in the history books? Well, this is the time to do it.
Plenty forward here for Sunderland. Corner to be taken from the near side, the left, by Trey Hume. Newcastle have brought everybody back. We're into the last 90 seconds of normal time. Corner at the Leeds' end, floated in by Hume to the back post, and there's a foul. It was headed away by Byrne anyway. Now, here comes Wissa for Gordon.
Newcastle coming off number 10, Anthony Gordon.
Yeah, Gordon goes off, but he goes off on the far side. He's getting an applause there from the fans. I think if it was 2-1, he wouldn't be getting applause.
I wonder what it feels like for the two managers, boys, on this near side touchline. I mean, it must be absolutely agonising.
Well, the two fixtures that come out, Joe, you know, you want to win them, you want to have them bragging rights, and it boils down to the managers as well. It certainly boils down to the players. And Eddie Howe knows that he's not had a North East win this season, or a Tyne-and-Wear derby win.
And he could become the first manager to lose both of his first Tyne-and-Wear derbies if Sunderland can do something here. Good challenge by Chow on Talby. Last 40 seconds of normal time. Here now on the halfway line is Willock. Poor crossfield ball intercepted by the Dutchman Hertrauder. And both teams are still going for the win here. Both believe they can come out victors. Forward by Xhaka, through the middle, Sadiki's onto it, he can play it square. Enzo Lefebvre from the angle, dead ball line. Lefebvre here pulls it across, Brobby's there! Brobby turns it in! He takes off his shirt in celebration. He might just have won the Tyne-and-Wear derby for Sunderland. It's their number 9 who's the hero in front of the Leeds' end. The subs run on in celebration. Régis Lebris is punching the air with delight. And have Sunderland stolen the points in the last minute of normal time? Brobby gets the goal that he deserves. It's a goal with massive repercussions in this area of the country, in the game that matters most in the North East. It looks as though Sunderland have done it to Newcastle again. Newcastle 1, Sunderland 2.
Well, if there was ever a player on a football pitch that deserved a goal for his performance, it's Brian Brobby. I'm so pleased for him that he's got his just rewards for all the hard work he's given in the 90 minutes, and he's just been waiting for that one opportunity. Again, Newcastle giving the ball away, Sunderland break, Lefebvre down the right hand side, can he get his shot away? Well, it's played into him a little bit too firm. He's clever, he's patient, he gets to the byline, and as he whips it back in towards that 6-yard area, who's there? Brobby. His first touch, a little bit away from a goal. He reverses, and all he's got to do is get his shot away. I'm so pleased for him, and it looks like it's going to be the winning goal. 7 added odd minutes, but that is a massive goal for Sunderland.
Yeah, I have to agree with Mickey. Might as well take over as Mickey takes his clothes off, the top off. He's been desperate for that. But yeah, I mean, he has been superb. The 2 centre-halves, or the 3 centre-halves really for Newcastle, know 100% they've been in a real battle with this lad. But his movement was excellent because Lefebvre does really well to the byline. I think Livermento's in front of him, but he gets in front of Livermento. He makes the contact. It's a decent save from Ramsey, although I don't think he knows that much about it, but it comes back to Brobby and he finishes it off. Yeah, I have to say it. In the second half, Sunderland have probably been the better team. And I think, you know, when you're working it out, do they slightly deserve it?
Well, you look at chances in the game, Steve, and albeit Newcastle went in at half-time, they were leading. I think you'd maybe look at the Chris Rigg opportunities, half chances. The Talby one was probably the better chance. But second half, I'm kind of scratching my head a little bit, apart from the disallowed goal from Newcastle, what chances they've had. Anthony Gordon skied a couple over the top of the crossbar. Other than that, you know, are we looking at Harvey Barnes had maybe a half a chance? Yeah, so on chances, I think, and on merit, Sunderland probably do deserve to be in front.
Into added time, 7 minutes added, and they effectively begin now. Newcastle 1, Sunderland 2. Clearance away by Alderete, and what an heroic recovery this looks like being for Sunderland, but the job is not done yet. Are Sunderland going to do it to Newcastle in the Premier League again? Osula has gone down, won a free kick, and Joel Linton not happy with Siddiqui, who delays the restart and is definitely going to get booked.
Yeah.
Trying to play innocent there, having dribbled it 30 yards.
Look, he thinks he's ticking a bit of time away, but I don't think Anthony Taylor is that silly. He will have stopped his watch.
3 added minutes have been played, crossed by Livramento. 7 added at the end. I reckon we've got at least 6 still to play. Jacob Murphy. Brian Brobby's last touch, maybe to win the derby for Sunderland. It'll be a league double over Newcastle United again. It'll be an 8th win from 9 Premier League meetings for Sunderland. Here is Livramento, tripped by Head Trowder. Yellow card for him. Free kick to Newcastle. And amid all of the madness there, Reynildo and Mayenda on for Sunderland in place of Talby and Brobby. Is Lewis Hall going to try and go for goal? It's a long way out, this, Steve Howie.
Yeah, it is. But it's one of them ones. I mean, I think it's a little bit too far. But having said that, sometimes, you know, as they say, if you don't buy a raffle ticket, you don't win a prize. But just looking at it as time ticks away, when the fixtures were out, if somebody said Newcastle will get all 6 points in these 2 fixtures, a lot of people would have laughed at it. But that's how it stands at this moment.
Sunderland are back, and they've turned it around to lead 2-1. Stoppage time. Hall from distance through the wall, deflected, turned away by Elborg. It's a muted reaction from the Gallowgates as Newcastle get a corner 5 minutes into added time.
Yeah, Elborg's just shuffled across to his right hand side there. He's obviously seen the deflected free kick coming his way. I'm not quite sure it was on target, but needs must at this period of the game. Just keep that ball away from your goal.
Sunderland moving above Newcastle in the Premier League as it stands. Corner drifted in, headed away at the near post. Thumping header clear by Chris Rigg, who's been excellent today. We've had 5 of the 7 added minutes. Forward by Lewis Hall, high to the edge of the area. Alderete heads it clear this time. Suddenly it's attack v defence, but Sunderland maybe have the break on. Hume on the near side looking for Mayenda, who's got the pace to trouble Livramento, but Livramento and Joel Linton between them get across to send it back to Ramsdale. Well, 90 seconds of added time officially to go, but I reckon there'll be at least 2 or 3 minutes in addition to that for Sunderland to hang on to the 2-1 lead, Mickey Gray.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you there, Joe. I think there's going to be a little bit more time than that for these Sunderland defenders to hang on.
Byrne is now playing up front for Newcastle United. Chow, midway inside Sunderland territory, gets it wide to the right. Livramento low ball in. Wissa on the turn, couldn't get control of it. Hooked away by Alderete. Sunderland in the blue and white defending with stout resistance at the moment, leading at Newcastle by 2-1. This is going to be a desperate result for Eddie Howe, particularly after the 7-2 thrashing at Barcelona in the middle of the week. You're listening to Talksport. Joel Linton has possession, edge of the centre circle, out to the left-hand side, and Ramsey caught late by Rigg. Play goes on with Willock in the left wing position, whips in a high right-footed cross, up goes Dan Byrne, can't get to it at the back post. Lefay is going to let it drift behind, and even though Byrne slides in, he can't keep it in play, and Sunderland are nearly there. Nearly 7 minutes of added time have been played.
Yeah, there's a lot of huffing and puffing from the Newcastle players without really creating anything. I think we've got 96 on the board there. I think we're going to go to about 100 minutes by the time obviously Sunderland scored and then the game restarted. So Sunderland fans right up the top there, be nervous. Sunderland just trying to play this one out. We're very tense in here. Newcastle fans obviously not happy with the situation, but there's still time.
We've had the allotted 7 added minutes. There may be a couple more still to go. Newcastle 1, Sunderland 2. Régis Lebris watches on from the near side touchline with his arms folded. Foul by Lefay. Lebris could be about to be only the second Sunderland manager to win both of his first 2 league Tyne-Wear derbies in charge. That after Gus Poyet. He's looked at his watch, Régis Lebris. We are 30 seconds over the initial 7 allotted. 2-1 Sunderland, long from Ramsdale, flicked on by Byrne in the area. Head Trowder hooks it clear somehow, drops to the edge of the penalty area. The shot was on there for Newcastle, but they couldn't get it away. And now Mayenda over the halfway line for Sunderland, trying to wriggle away from 2-3 in black and white. Johan Wissa is there to track back and win it for Newcastle. We are 8 minutes into added time.
Still we wait for that full-time whistle, and Newcastle one more chance to get that ball into Sunderland's area.
Booking for Reynildo. This will surely be the last chance, and Aaron Ramsdale might be waved forward here. Free kick to Newcastle, 10 yards into Sunderland territory. Newcastle from left to right towards the Gallowgate, taken short by Ramsdale. Jacob Murphy to swing it in, header away by Enzo Lefebvre. All eyes on Anthony Taylor. Reynildo volleys the ball clear into the main stand. Anthony Taylor has not looked at his watch just yet. We are 8.5 minutes into added time at the end of the game. If you're just joining us on Talksport, Sunderland are set for a famous Derby Day win. Long throw into the area by Livramento, nudged behind, goal kick to Sunderland, cheered by the away fans. Mickey Gray.
Well, we thought there was going to be a little bit more added on time, but what's Anthony Taylor waiting for now? Is it for one of Sunderland defender or the goalkeeper just to clear his lines, to blow his whistle? But what a turnaround of 45 minutes of football from Sunderland this afternoon. They looked dead and buried in that first half, and I think if Newcastle had have gone on and got that second goal, this game would have been out of sight and dead and buried.
Mass exodus at St James's Park. Derby Day glory goes to the team from Wearside. Régis Lebris is mobbed by his staff. Sunderland have won it at St James's Park, and Brian Brobby is their injury time hero. Right at the very end of normal time, and for the supporters high up in the Leazes End, it is joy unconfined. Sunderland have come to the old enemy's patch, and they're going away with a victory. A third Premier League double over Newcastle United for Sunderland. They keep their hold over their nearest and dearest in the top flight. That's 11 league games unbeaten against Newcastle, 8 wins out of 9. Régis Lebris, if he wasn't already, is a Sunderland hero. Just the second Sunderland manager to win both of his first 2 league Tyne-Wear derbies in charge. But what a nightmare week for Newcastle and for Eddie Howe. Beaten heavily, humbled in Barcelona, and now they lose the match that means the most. Eddie Howe, the first ever Newcastle boss to lose both of his first 2 league games against Sunderland. But for the team in blue and white, the celebrations are only just getting started. It was tight, it was tense, it was almost unbearably agonising at the end for Sunderland, but they held out, and not only that, they came from behind to win. Anthony Gordon scored the opening goal early on, and it looked as though it was going to be a glory day on Tyneside for Newcastle United. But what a second half response from Sunderland. Talby with the equaliser, Brobby at the Leazes End with a famous win. And the Newcastle fans are heading out in their droves, but the Sunderland celebrations will last long, long into the night. It's Sunderland who won it away at Newcastle by 2-1.
Absolutely incredible scenes here at St James's Park. The North East bragging rights go to Sunderland. They move above Newcastle into 11th in the Premier League table, but ultimately that doesn't matter. It's the pride that this instills. 2 games in the Premier League that they have won over their rivals, and the Sunderland fans up at the Leazes End are going to have a party this afternoon, that is for sure. The Newcastle fans were streaming out of the ground on 90 minutes when Brian Brobby's goal went in. I have to say, twice my smartwatch went off saying unusually high stress levels, and I'm a neutral, so I've got no idea how the 2 men sat in front of me, both for Newcastle and Sunderland, who've been on commentary duty for us here on Talksport, in Steve Howie and Mickey Gray, are feeling right now. But Mickey, I want to talk to you about Luke O'Nien, because he made that awful error early on in the first half to gift the goal that Anthony Gordon scored to put Newcastle ahead. We don't see him in this position. He's barely played for Sunderland this season, but we know how much the club means to him. He's a stalwart of it. When that final whistle went, he sunk to his knees, he put his head in his hands, and he looked like he was sobbing. The relief on him, having made that early mistake, was so evident. What an incredible second half performance from your team.
Well, Faye, I'm very proud of Luke O'Nien, because it's so easy to roll up into a shell and, you know, let this game pass you by after you've made such an error in a game. But I think he deserves a lot of credit. He was excellent in that second half. He was one of the players who wanted to come out and make that difference. But I'm so proud of the players for that second 45 minutes and how they've reacted and how they've turned the deficit round from a defeat to a win against your fiercest rivals. And what a season this has been for Sunderland. Yes, they've had their ups and downs, of course they have, and it looked like this season was petering out, but the character they showed in that second 45 minutes, I couldn't be prouder of them. I really couldn't. I mean, this is the hardest place to come for a Sunderland player, there's no question of it. And we heard the atmosphere and the build-up before kick-off. In the first half, it looked like the game was running away from them. But the reaction when they came out, if somebody wants to be out there to be the one who makes the difference, absolutely brilliant. So pleased for them.
And it felt as if they wanted the game more in that second half. They knew that they'd been on the ropes in the first half. They'd managed to ride it out. They come out in the second half full of intent. Newcastle just weren't at the races. And when that second goal went in, I was watching the players across the pitch, obviously defending pretty deep originally. And they were knee sliding at every single aspect of the pitch, celebrating that Brian Brobby goal. They're waving up at the Sunderland fans high up in the Lees end as we speak. Smiles on all the Sunderland players' faces. But Steve, from a Newcastle perspective, what a terrible week for this club. The atmosphere in here was incredible leading into this game. It clearly had got to the Sunderland players, but they just couldn't get that second goal in and take advantage of it. What is going on with Newcastle United and second halves of football?
Yeah, it's a bitter pill to swallow for the Newcastle fans, the Newcastle team and the manager. I think today was discussed that this was the perfect game for them to bounce back after the defeat against Barcelona. They go into the lead early doors and you're thinking, right, come on, can you now score that second goal and kind of put the game to bed? I think Nicky was saying, you know, if they get that second goal, it probably is, because Sunderland weren't really functioning as a team and were finding it quite difficult. But to be fair to Sunderland, they hung in there. They had a couple of half chances in the first half. Sunderland were the better team in the second half, but Anthony Gordon for me had a couple of chances where he's done the hard work and he's opened the goal up for him to bend it in with his right foot, just doesn't hit the target. But again, I think another one for the fans is going to be difficult, because just on social media Newcastle tend to put, when they win home or away, they'll tend to put a photograph of them all together in the dressing room or on the pitch, and they did that when they beat Sunderland in the FA Cup a couple of years ago with all the fans behind them, which didn't go down very well with the Sunderland fans. So it'll be interesting to see what goes on social media from the Sunderland fans this time. But they have to suck it up, they have to go again. But the problem that you've got, Fane, is Newcastle, like everybody else, they've got a long time to wait before they can put that right, because obviously there's the break with the international.
Yep, there certainly is. There's fury from some of the Newcastle United fans who are watching some of the Sunderland celebrations. Chris Rigg had just taken a phone from one of his social media team and taken it over to do a selfie up with the Sunderland fans. Didn't go down particularly well. The Sunderland chairman, Kirill Louis-Dreyfus, is down there with some of his entourage celebrating and just about to go into the tunnel to celebrate with his team. It is Sunderland who have the bragging rights in this game, and what a game it was ultimately as well. I don't know how we managed to pick a man of the match, but I've got a feeling I know where it's going to go, because it's time for us to pick that man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
The Here For It hero on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, we're here for it.
Listen, I know who Mickey's going to choose, Steve. I just want to know whether you concur or not.
Yeah, I think we both agree on who it is. As I said before, the two centre-halves, or three centre-halves for Newcastle, for me, they'll be sitting in the dressing room and they know that they've been in the game. Just the tussles, the physicality of him, I thought he was absolutely excellent. You've got to see pretty much every Sunderland player, especially coming here into the Lions' Den. I would also put Luke O'Nien in there after the start that he had. I thought the character that he showed was absolutely magnificent, but I've got to let Mickey do it, same as so he's You can see that broad smile beaming across his face.
I love that you've not fallen out.
No, we can't do that. Look, he was a Trojan today, wasn't he? A battle and performance for his team. Exactly what you want in a derby game from start to finish. Made a nuisance of himself. And as Steve mentioned there before, those 3 centre-halves are in the medical room now, in that dressing room. They absolutely are. But if anybody deserved a goal today, and anybody who deserves man of the match today, it was Brian Brobby, hands down. Absolutely outstanding performance. Give me 11 like that every single week. You win more than you lose, let me tell you.
Without a doubt. And do you know what? You say that. He was in a wrestling match for that whole second half in particular. They knew he was the danger man and they just couldn't. So strong physically. To hold off players like Dan Burn with that size was incredible.
Do you know what the thing about it is, Faye, and Steve Page as a centre-half, you feel like as a centre-half you go, he's not getting the better of me today. And it just continues through the game, and when you're not getting the better of somebody, the next challenge comes in and you're like, I need to do something about this. But all afternoon, even in the first half when Sunderland were kind of against the backs of the wall, if you like, he kept going. He was shugging them, dragging them to the ground. I just thought it was a top-class performance. Look, he scored today. I think and this is for future references, one of his criticisms is he's not going to get enough goals for you. Put someone alongside him. Not a big man, a little man, if you like. Niall Quinn, Kevin Phillips, that kind of thing. There ain't many centre-halves want to play against that, let me tell you.
No way. And the Sunderland fans absolutely love him high up in the Leazes End. You'll be hearing them for the next 20 minutes or so while we continue wrapping up this game and building up to the Carabao Cup additionally. That was our Here For It hero, Brian Brobby, the man of the match from today's game with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.